passing notes in blue, talking party colors like they're overdue. The old brass on the wall keeps asking what went wrong, but the new crew smiles soft and hums a borrowed song. Now the table's turning slow with a polished, patient glow. Everybody in the room feels the courage start to grow. Come you need some Kool-Aid, sipping by the poolside. Communism Kool-Aid, say it with a straight face. Voters in the cool shade, passing cups around the parade. Communism Kool-Aid, and nobody knows what to say. Hillary's by the phone with a careful, worried look, reading every headline like a line she didn't book. She sees the banner shift, she hears the easy cheer, and the whole old playbook starts to fog up in the rear. Now the table's turning slow with a polished, patient glow. Everybody in the room feels the courage start to grow. Communism Kool-Aid, sipping by the poolside. Communism Kool-Aid, say it with a straight face. Voters in the cool shade, passing cups around the parade. Communism Kool-Aid, and nobody knows what to say. The marina keeps on shining while the arguments roll on. One side calls it progress, one side says the game is gone, and the tide keeps washing in like it owns the whole boardwalk. Smile State magazine bright while the dinner circles tall. Communism Kool-Aid, sipping by the poolside. Communism Kool-Aid, say it with a straight face. Voters in the cool shade, passing cups around the parade. Communism Kool-Aid, and nobody knows Monday talk hit hard like a match in dry grass. Words crossed the room fast and nobody took it back. 3 months till the vote, still the air turned black. The names got thrown around, then they came right back. You can shout all day, you can paint that fear, but the crowd still sees what's really near. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. You can't scare truth down. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. We see through the smoke now. Democrats got dragged with a label and a sneer. Socialists, communists, same old drumming our ear. But the street outside got its own reply. Moms at the crosswalk, kids with sharp eyes. You can sell that storm, you can sell that blame, but the same old trick has a tired frame. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. You can't scare truth down. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. We see through the smoke now. Let the panic talk, let the headlines spin. People know a mask when it's stretched too thin. Not every loud mouth tells the whole damn room. Not every dark word turns the day to doom. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. You can't scare truth down. Ballot box fire, ballot box fire. We see through the smoke now. Monday talk fades out, but the vote still stands. Same old fear gets sold in the same old hands.
So this is a luxury that we have because we're streaming and we are not bound by the parameters of terrestrial radio. It is the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. So if you happen to be tuning in a little early, you're going to get something special. I'm only doing this, Isaac, because it's Freedom Friday. Okay.
Love Fridays.
This is the only reason why I'm going to do this.
Yep.
So, as I've been talking about, I've been doing a lot with AI lately. I have a whole album's worth of songs now. Okay.
Oh boy.
Right. So I've gone back to the dark years in my binder filled with poetry and writings going back to the 90s. It's funny because it's really funny because I dated everything. So like all of the writings in my binder, they're all like 94, 95, a certain period of time. I know exactly what I was going through. I know the inspiration for the writings and all of that. So it's been an interesting little journey back in time. But it's funny because there's a moment where like 95 and then it stops for a little bit. There's some writing in 96 and then by 97 it just ends. And the reason being I got into radio and I got a life.
I'll do it.
So it's like I'm going through. It is like every single movie that you see when they, and I'm back to Lord of the Rings again. There's a moment in Lord of the Rings where this happens when they go to the troll world and Gimli's going through the book and they're describing what happened, but it ends because the orcs came in. Spoiler alert: the orcs came in and they had to battle them and they all died, so they couldn't write anymore. Right, so that's what it was like going through my poetry. So I mentioned maybe sharing a song. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to share this one. I'm going to be right up front as we get ready to start the show officially. So this is not the official start of the show. I'm going to say right up front, this is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm just going to say that right now. I've shared it with a handful of people. The individuals have enjoyed it. It does have a bit of a Minnesota connection. Okay. The song is called Purple Rain Stains. Okay. All right. So you ready for this? A little bit, little deviation from the parodies. Okay, and this was inspired by writings that I did, musings back in the 90s. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go.
Listen close to the silicone sound bouncing off the walls as we're shaking down. The trembling crawler roads bathed in headlights. Time drips through the flickering of street lights. As the moon is put to sleep, I hear you screech as the nerve endings meet. Just as your thoughts start to go fuzzy, you wake up to the sounds of something, but deep inside it all means nothing. As the night exposes what's all too troubling, so pull out the fibers and stick to your fingers, dripping crimson down the hall while the stink still lingers. Soak up the stains, but let your emotions remain as a reminder that you're only human anyway. So flip the switch and ignite the sarcasm that flows from your lips, creating a chasm and answer all the secrets I never could mention. Of all the truths I believed in, never did question, as I fell to my knees at the slightest suggestion, and you were lying to me all along as you hum this song. The purple rain stains as it falls on the sidewalks, making a mess of your hair just as the beat drops. But water can't cleanse what you refuse to amend, and you were lying to me all along as you hum this song.
How many people are tuning in going, what in the world's going on?
Ignite the sarcasm that flows from your lips, creating a chasm and answer all the secrets I never could mention. Of all the truths I believed and never did question, as I fell to my knees at the slightest suggestion, and you were lying to me all along as you hum this song. The purple rain stains as it falls on the sidewalks, making a mess of your head just as the beat drops. But water can't cleanse what you refuse to amend, and you were lying to me all along as you hum this song.
If it's big, you don't touch it. That's what I was taught.
Gave them energy. Gave them energy. Gave them energy. Gave them energy.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of a
You're
jam.
total rock star. Love you so much and love the talk radio audience all throughout Minnesota. You do such a great job. I'm a big fan.
I think they vastly underestimate human horniness.
It's true.
Speak through static waves at dawn, a voice that lingers when night is gone. Twin cities hum with stories spun. John Justice rides the rising
It's hot.
sun.
It's very hot.
Team-up is in a plastic cup. Star Wars dreams keep lifting him up. Costco Isles is sacred ground, where neon shadows spin around.
I, as a heterosexual male, like the smell of women.
Tune in to laugh at these morons.
We come to this place for magic, to cry, to care.
Here's the thing about women. Women are insane.
All of us. That indescribable feeling we get,
Yes, queens.
and we go somewhere we've never been before.
It's a bold strategy,
Just
Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Somehow reborn. Together. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
You're fascinating to
Our heroes feel like the best part of us. And stories feel perfect and powerful. Because here, they are.
I traveled all
Get it started in here.
We actually went to the movies yesterday, and it's a little bit disappointing because they've completely changed that Nicole Kidman intro. What you hear there is it's like a historical footnote now. And it's official, Freedom Friday, here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. My name is John Justice, playing Fat AI Jams. Producer Isaac is with us this morning. Good morning, Isaac.
Good morning.
Yeah, I could have done a whole hour's worth of songs that I've created.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That song's catchy as all get out. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but
it was one of the most songs I've ever heard.
It was a song.
It was
is what you're saying.
A song.
It was a song, and it had music and lyrics,
and,
allegedly, and voices singing. Yeah, well, there was. I did do a little bit of an update on the poetry from before. I added a few things.
That's good.
Here and there, because I've grown. I've grown as a person.
Got a job.
I've grown as a man since the mid '90s.
The death of all good poets is getting a job.
Yeah, I've been torturing the family with my poetry AI.
Love it.
AI songs. On the show today, we do have a full house arriving throughout the opening hours of the show. We'll have Representative Max Reimer on the comfy sofa, on the comfy couch here at the center of the American Experiment Studios. A.K. Kamara, your RNC committeeman, will be here. Grace Keating, who was not here last week, will join us once again, as will Katherine Johnson. And we've got a stack. It is a stack. We'll see how much of the stack that we get to this morning here on the show. The good thing is there's not anything. It's kind of fun when I get to Fridays like this, when there isn't like anything like major. I feel like we got through all the big stuff yesterday, so there's a few things that we needed to discuss today, but there's nothing earth shattering, that we need to spend too much time on, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I do want to make one point. This is probably the most that I'll spend on it. We may talk about it when the guests join us in studio later on this morning, but I do want to make one more comment that I didn't get to yesterday regarding Mike Lindell and his statewide recount of the primary election. We were having a conversation when the show ended yesterday, and there was a point that I wished that I had made yesterday that I didn't, that I'll do here in just a moment. But let's get some of the business out of the way. Remember that you can watch the show live at MN Think Tank. There was no video attached to that previous song, by the way. I just want to let everybody know in case that I have thought about it.
Not yet.
I thought, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. Mm-hmm. I think Purple Rain Stains has the potential to be a huge hit. Like, I imagine that playing like before the Vikings come out. When the season begins. Although the season's ruined already. I saw photographs of Governor Dim Walz meeting with the coach and the players of the starting team. That pretty much means the season's over before it even gets started, because he is a curse upon our sports franchises here. So you can watch the show at MN Think Tank, Facebook, and YouTube at Center of the American Experiment. Of course, you can listen live on the MixLR app. Podcasts are posted there after the show is over and across all the podcast platforms, and the rewatch of the videos are on those channels as well, as along with Rumble too. So you can email john.justice@americanexperiment.org and john.justice@americanexperiment.org. And also, you can leave us a blast at any point in the show at 612-584-4565. 612-584-4565. Gary was up early this morning. Left us our first blast here on the John Justice Show.
Good morning, John Justice. This was Gary calling in on a Friday morning, looking forward to Freedom Friday and Nicole Kidman, but I was listening to the podcast yesterday about Michael Lindell and the recount. Can someone like Chris Collins, maybe, or someone that knows the President of the United States, Donald Trump, tell him to go against this and call it off because Michael Lindell only listens to President Trump, I think.
Oh, you know what I can do? I could drop Pete Hegseth a text. Hey, Pete, can you, Gary would like you to talk to Trump and to tell Mike Lindell to knock it off with the recount. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I feel like I have a selected number of texts that I can send Pete Hegseth, so I don't want to burn one, unless it's super important. But Gary, you did provide me the opening to make the point that I didn't make yesterday. So for those that aren't aware, Mike Lindell is wants to launch a recount of the primary election. He is citing what he believes are anomalies going back to election night, and he is not convinced that it was a proper vote to count and that there might not have been fraud involved. This will cost about, $835,000. I think that was the price tag that I saw on this. He said he was going to pay for it with his own money, but he's also asking for individuals to donate to him, obviously to assist in this effort. The point that I didn't make yesterday, that I want to make here, and then we'll move on to some other items. And as I mentioned, we might talk about it a bit when our Freedom Friday crew joins us in studio, is that in my opinion, if Mike Lindell legitimately believes that there are anomalies, he's calling into question the primary, if he genuinely believes this, and it's not just about him, This is how he should have gone about doing this. This is how anybody should go about doing what Mike Lindell is suggesting. You admit that you lost the election. Okay, you concede. Throw your support behind the primary winner, in this case, Lisa Damoth and Ryan Wilson, and then say, now I'm going to go and launch my official recount. Okay, that's what you do. That way, when you're done with the recount, if it turns out that you were right, for the sake of argument, now you've got the backing of everybody. Now it's like, hey, look at what I've exposed, and it calls into question the legitimacy of the primary. We need to now go and address it. And in doing so, you have maintained the trust of the voters. You've done the right thing in causing less harm, because I still think there's damage to be done to the Republican Party candidates that won by going and doing this recount. This is not a positive thing for Republican efforts to win statewide. Be that as it may, if you went about the way that I suggested it, then this way, if you actually do end up finding some anomalies, irregularities, or fraud, then everybody is with you. Okay, you did the right thing. You backed Damoth, but now you have proof that this primary was not on the up and up. And now you move forward with whatever remedy is available to go and fix that problem. You don't go the route of not conceding, essentially, saying that you believe that you won, not throwing your support behind the candidate, and then launching this recount, which has now caused a lot of consternation within the Republican Party and the base of voters who either, voted for Mike Lindell or voted for Lisa Damoth or voted for Kendall Qualls. And so, again, if this wasn't about him, that's how you should have gone about doing it. And that's not how he's going about doing it. And that's probably the aspect of this that I found so the most frustrating, was because of that very reason. Because the right thing to do would have been to back the winner and then go and conduct your audit, your recount. Because I've seen people online, they've reached back out to me. There was a video that we posted, a clip from the show talking about this issue, and they were saying that they appreciate that Mike Lindell is looking into this, and maybe all of this was simply so that he could go and do this. Well, again, if that's the case, then he should admit defeat, support the winner, and then go do his recount. And if there happens to be evidence to suggest that this was not on the up and up in the primary, now you've got a leg to stand on, and you haven't gone and made a bunch of people mad. Because unfortunately now a bunch of people are mad. 612-584-4565. Again, if you want to email john.justice@americanexperiment.org. Yesterday, FBI agents reportedly confronted former Representative Eric Swalwell at a California airport, seized his electronics as part of a federal crime investigation. Agents served the California Democrat with a search warrant. This was actually last weekend after he arrived at a San Francisco International Airport. The source subsequently confirmed the airport encounter to the New York Post. The federal agents who executed the additional court-approved warrants on Sunday at Swalwell's Washington, D.C. residence and seized other potential evidence. Swalwell, 45 years old, apparently is cooperating with agents at the airport. Neither the FBI nor the Justice Department immediately commented on the reported searches. The investigation comes after multiple women accused the former congressman of sexual misconduct. Allegations of Swalwell I can't ever say that word. I can't ever say vehemently. I've always had a problem with that one. I need to work on it. I need to practice it in a mirror, I think. He has denied the allegations ardently. We'll change it that way. That's easier to say. A former staffer has alleged that Swalwell raped her on 2 occasions when she was too intoxicated to consent. That's not good. And while another woman has accused him of drugging and sexually assaulting her in 2018. 2 women have alleged he sent them unsolicited explicit images. The allegations have not been proven in court, and Swalwell maintains his innocence. At this point, the accusations brought a dramatic end to the political career of one of President Donald Trump's most outspoken critics. Swalwell ended his campaign for California governor after the allegations surfaced, resigned from Congress in April as he faced a House Ethics Committee investigation. The FBI action comes as Swalwell faces renewed scrutiny over his past relationship with Christine Fang, a suspected Chinese intelligence operative known as Fang Fang. Fang Fang. So nice you say it twice.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should write a song about Fang Fang. Put that into
that would be fun.
AI generator. That's right. Newly declassified records released by the White House Transparency Task Force reportedly state that Swalwell told the FBI he had occasionally hooked up with Fang Fang.
Just occasionally.
Just occasionally.
It's not that big of a deal.
It was more of a fang. We didn't really fang. We just kind of fanged.
Mm-hmm.
Just fanged we fanged a few times.
No.
Yeah. Fanged on occasion.
Every other Wiener Wednesday.
It was never a full fang. Just a fang every once in a while. Listen, I'm done being surprised by allegations like this. And I know a lot of you guys have been done long before I am, but I'm done being surprised when we see this type of misconduct, regardless of political party. Tragically, the acceptable societal standards to hold the office has plummeted in the years of President Donald Trump. And make no mistake, and again, this is there's no party exclusivity here, even though it typically goes and happens on the left. But make no mistake too, Trump derangement syndrome provides simply an excuse for the left to justify horrible decision making. Because it's a constant crutch that they use of, Trump is this. I know this person's done this. I know Swalwell. And he fanged. I got it, but Trump's a pedophile and Epstein files and Iran and gas prices. I think it's partly the reason why they continue. Not a big part, but a part. It's a part of why Trump derangement syndrome is so persistent, because it does provide those on the left an excuse to just go and act horribly, because they just look back at Trump and they just say, yeah, well, he's super bad. So I don't know what you're talking about. All Swalwell did was fang. 612-584-4565 on a Freedom Friday. You can email john.justice@americanexperiment.org. Coming up, NASA has selected Minnesota to be one of 7 nationwide aerospace workforce hubs, and I know the reason why. It's not in the story, but there's a very specific reason why, in my opinion, NASA has chosen Minnesota to be one of 7 aerospace workforce hubs. It's actually a pretty cool story. I'll give you details on it. Bad news. Minnesota reports job loss for the first time in 4 months. I don't know if there's a correlation, but I'll tell you that when I saw this story yesterday, the first thing that popped into my mind is the time frame regarding it, because it seems awfully close to the start of paid family medical leave, and I can't help but wonder if the two things are connected. Minnesota job loss the first time in 4 months, as in a large number of individuals have gone and taken advantage of paid family medical leave. And so we'll dive into that. If you want to comment on any of these stories or anything, on and off topic comments all morning long here on the John Justice Show on a Freedom Friday, 612-584-4565. And again, drop me an email, john.justice@americanexperiment.org. We'll get to your blast coming up in just a moment here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
If you would like to support the John Justice Show, become an advertiser. For more details, email john.justice@americanexperiment.org.
It's John Justice, and you've probably gone through the yo-yo dieting. That was the case for me, but not anymore. You lose a few pounds, it all comes back, and more. You lose a few pounds, and it all comes back, and even more. If that's been your life, NutraWave was built for you. It certainly was for me. I've lost over 25 pounds on this amazing program. NutraWave turns on the fat burning, reignites your energy, and it's all natural. There's no pills, there's no shots, there's no excuses. It actually helps you change your relationship with food just through the process of the program. 31,000 people across the metro have tried everything else, and NutraWave is where they got their life back. And NutraWave is accepting a limited number of new people. So call and mention the word strike, and you get a $272 value Truth Metabolic Scan and a red light therapy session. I've done it. It's incredibly effective. Nothing to lose and everything to gain, but you're going to lose the weight and you're not going to put it back on. Individual results may vary. So call today at 952-260-1965. That's 952-260-1965. Remember, no pills, no shots, just results. NutraWave, there's nothing else like it. Results may vary. NutraWave is not a medical treatment. Consult your physician before starting any weight loss program.
And now, here's commentary on the latest issues facing Minnesotans from the hosts, policy fellows, and guests of American Experiment. For more content, head on over to the center of the American Experiment's YouTube page or at americanexperiment.org.
State government of Minnesota gave $500,000 of taxpayers' money to a non-profit called Gender Justice. And it was Gender Justice who brought the lawsuit against the state government, which won, which allowed for men to be put in women's prisons. And the state government, you paid for that.
Yeah.
You know, you, hard-pressed, hard-working, law-abiding Minnesota taxpayer, you paid for this. You paid for it both ends. You paid for it when they paid Gender Justice to bring the lawsuit, and you paid for it at the other end when this guy living in a woman's prison gets a sex change operation.
If you would like to support the John Justice Show, become an advertiser. For more details, email john.justice@americanexperiment.org.
So I wrote last week about the example of a sex change operation that the state of Minnesota has apparently paid for a convicted murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now I looked up how much do these things cost, and I got an estimate of between $50,000 and $80,000. So if you take the low end estimate, $50,000, let's say this was a cheap operation, and then you look at how much the kind of median Minnesota taxpayer pays in taxes, you're looking at about 10 Minnesotans' annual state income tax payments have gone to pay for this guy to get a sex change operation.
Think about it. Now that school's out for the summer, how are Minnesota students doing? Not very well. Minnesota ACT scores fell again last year and are the lowest they've been in 10 years. In fact, fewer than half of Minnesota students can either read or do math at grade level. Think about it. We used to brag about our schools. Now we're losing to states like Mississippi. Visit americanexperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
It's John Justice here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. Producer Isaac is with us this morning. Hey, Isaac, think about it.
I'm thinking.
Just you think about it. You think about it. You think about it hard.
6:20 in the morning, John. I can't think that out.
Sure you can. I've been up since 1:30.
Oh gosh.
Can't you tell?
We cross paths then.
I was up at one. How do you mean we cross paths?
That's about when I went to bed.
Is it? That is not when you went to bed.
That's pretty close.
Is it seriously when you went to bed?
It's pretty close.
How old are you?
26.
All right, you young whippersnappers.
Yeah, I got a nice nap.
I could do that. I could do that back in the day. That's probably the schedule that I was keeping back in the day when I was writing all of my musings. I hate calling it poetry. All of my musings. There was a lot. Like I was even shocked at how much I wrote.
think poetry hates you calling it that too.
I was certainly a tortured soul back then, or at least I thought I was overly dramatic. I'm glad that I've grown up and changed because I'm certainly not that way anymore.
Yeah.
Let's go to the blaster line. A lot of people are already dropping us messages this morning. We'll hear from a friend of the show, Lori.
I think I blew it with my new smartphone.
What?
And now I'm at cutting edge of society. This is Lori in Bloomington. John, it's so good to hear your voice again. I can't wait till all the guys show up again, and I just woke up, but I'm so glad to hear your voice. Bless you. Bye-bye.
I think she went to bed about the same time that
you and me both, Lori.
You did, Isaac.
Yeah.
You both had a late night. I actually stayed up a little bit later. I was awake until about 8:05 last night. It's very late for me.
Wow, late night.
Well, we went to the movies. We went to go see End of Oak Street, which I very much enjoyed. I have a big issue with the ending, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody that's seen it. But there's a bit of a conundrum at the end of that film. But one of the best dinosaur movies I'd actually seen in a while. I mean, it really brought back and that's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer for crying out loud. It really brought back the terror of what it would be like to be face to face with a dinosaur, with a dinosaur. The Jurassic Park movies, I mean, they still do. Everyone's still scared of the dinosaurs, right? But it's been sort of, tempered down since the original Jurassic Park, and this really brought that fear factor back. But because of that, my evening schedule got thrown off, and so I got home. I ended up staying up a little bit later than I should have. I put on Speed. I haven't seen Speed in a while, so I was watching a little bit of that last night. Good movie. Have you seen Speed?
I've not.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's so hard when I have conversations with individuals that are the age of Isaac and others because there's so many movies that you need to be exposed to. I'm going to make you a list.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
I actually do need a list.
It's like Captain America and Winter Soldier, when he wakes up after 60 years and he has to get caught up on all the pop culture references.
Yeah.
So when he has that list that he's checking off, I'll give you a Captain America John Justice list of all the things that you should go and watch. In the meantime, let's go back to the blaster line this morning on a Freedom Friday.
Hey, John, Dennis of Southwest Minnesota. Yeah, I voted for Mike, and I don't know what he's doing. All he's doing is dividing our party. He just needs to concede, support Lisa, and let's go beat Klobuchar. He can still be a very good support.
Absolutely.
Making state of Minnesota great again. I hope he figures that out. And anyway, you have a good day and have a good Freedom Friday.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk to you later.
Thank you, Dennis. And I tend to agree with you. I think that would be the best move. For handsome man Mike Lindell. For those that were listening to yesterday's show, the mustache works on him. It really does.
Hey, John, some material for your next Overlord song.
Oh, okay.
The Fang Fang or you could have a Fang Fang and a Bang Bang.
Oh.
So do the Bang 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 Bang, because he's got a Fang Bang.
Thank you.
Don't thank him for that.
Thank you.
Don't
thank him.
We
are thanking him. No, we're absolutely thanking him for that. It's a Freedom Friday.
Oh, man.
I appreciate it. That's good. Listen, I had really held off on that. I'm not kidding. When this story had first come up of Swalwell and Fang Fang, I had avoided the juvenile commentary regarding Fang Fang. Not anymore. No, I'm not. I'm going all in. Now that I'm with a prestigious organization like Center of the American Experiment, now I'm going to get more juvenile, right? Minnesota was selected as one of 7 nationwide hubs to develop technicians for the aerospace industry. This is really cool. NASA announced this yesterday. Minnesota State Transportation Center of Excellence will now be the lone hub in the Midwest to help address the growing need for technical talent in the aerospace field. The 3-year, $1.5 million initiative will enable Minnesota State to help prepare students for careers in aerospace. The hub is intended to create a pathway from high school to develop job-ready aerospace technicians for NASA suppliers and beyond. According to a release, the training will include welding, precision machining, automation, robotics, avionics, non-destructive testing.
Better than destructive testing.
It depends on who you ask. If it was my son, Kyle, I think he would want destructive testing. I think top of his list of jobs is demolition expert. Yeah. The man is an agent of chaos. Mayhem is his middle name. And system integration and employer demand. So the initiative intends to enroll 1,800 to 2,400 students in aerospace-aligned pathways and award 500 to 700 aerospace-specific credentials. They'll be establishing 140 to 200 new registered apprenticeships and internships, 1,000 to 1,400 high school students through career awareness and hands-on learning opportunities, providing professional development for educators while strengthening aerospace-focused curriculum statewide. NASA has selected the Minnesota State Transportation Center of Excellence as one of 7 aerospace-skilled technical workforce state hubs in the nation and the only one located in the Midwest. The NASA State Hubs initiative is designed to address the growing national need for skilled technical talent as the aerospace economy expands and the nation advances priorities related to human exploration. The 3-year, $1.5 million initiative, Minnesota will convene colleges, aerospace employers, workplace development organizations, economic development partners, and expand industry-aligned education and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you know why they chose Minnesota? Because in the dead of winter, Minnesota is the closest that anybody can get to being in space without actually going to space. I mean, think about it. You go outside and you're not properly clothed with multiple layers and you could die. It's exactly what happens when you're in space. I don't know if you know that or not. If you try to go out in space, you don't have a spacesuit on, you die. That's what happens. Right? Now, you might say, well, John, you can breathe. Well, barely. Depends on how far below zero we are at that point in time. So that's why I think they chose us. Because in the wintertime, we all become astronauts of the Midwest. Ooh, that might be a good band name. Band name or a racehorse? Astronauts of the Midwest.
Eileen band name.
Yeah, Eileen band name too. I do that. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Now, this is actually a really cool initiative, and I'm curious. I'm assuming that this is not our taxpayer dollars that are going to the $1.5 million for this initiative. But then again, I'm also not 100% sure if that is or is not the case. I hope it's not the case. This sounds like it's a federal initiative, and this is coming from the federal government, which ultimately means it is your tax dollars, but it's just not directly your tax dollars here in Minnesota. Minnesota lost nearly 2,000 non-farm jobs. And I'm looking forward to talking a bit about this with Max Reimer when he joins us in studio. 2,000 non-farm jobs on a seasonally adjusted basis in July, while the private sector decreased by about 800 jobs. So listen, this is bad news for the DFL heading into November. Bad economic news. You just point that directly over to the DFL and their policies. This is not good news for them. The data was released yesterday by the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. The losses come after 4 straight months of growth and 3 months when the state outpaced the national average, which, again, I don't have any evidence of this, and I'm curious to talk about this with Max when he joins us. I expect him to be walking down the hall here at any moment. But with paid family medical leave starting, knowing that we're running way beyond the expectations of the number of individuals that are taking advantage of this program, they decided not to go and increase the tax, even though it needs it because there's too many people that have signed up for the program. But they decided not to go and increase the tax because it's an election year, which is just going to provide more disaster to this program because they're not increasing it next year. I don't want to see the tax increased. I don't want to see this program at all. This is a blatant redistribution of wealth that the DFL put together. And as I've said, every single time we talked about paid family medical leave, if you go and if you take advantage of this, that's fine. I get it. Your money is going in to pay for this. The government is just stealing that money. The employers have to pay into it as well. So I do not begrudge you for taking advantage of the program that you're paying into. That being said, there's a lot of individuals who do not need to be taking this much time off. We already had means and mechanisms with employers to go and take the time off. There was no need for this program either way. Nevertheless, here we are. And because of that, they need to raise the tax on it, but they're not, because it's an election year. That's going to end up hurting Democrats. And ultimately, the program's going to suffer even further because they won't end up raising the tax until 2028. In July, 8 super sectors lost jobs, including 1,100 in financial activities, 1,000 in construction, professional, and business services, however, added 2,400. Minnesota's unemployment rate and statewide labor force participation each dropped 0.1% in July. That professional and business services, I'm assuming that's also like just the service sector. I mean, I wonder how much of those 2,400 jobs that were added here in the midst of this report of the first job loss in 4 months here in Minnesota is because of what had taken place with individuals no longer going to their jobs here illegally, Metro Surge, and other individuals going and filling those particular gigs. A lot of questions dovetailing off of this, and maybe he can provide some answers, and maybe he can't. We'll find out. Representative Max Reimer joins us on a Freedom Friday. He's making himself comfy on the sofa. Good morning. Good to see you, sir.
Good morning. Glad to be here. I don't think I can answer any questions.
Then why are you here?
I don't know. Just to hang out at 6:30 in the morning.
Just want to come watch me. Just want to come.
Just
watch me
just
go
stare
blah
at
blah
you.
blah for 3 hours. All right.
Stare at you.
No, do you have any thoughts on this? I mean, Minnesota lost nearly 2,000 non-farm farm jobs on a seasonally adjusted basis in July. The losses come after 4 straight months of growth and 3 months when the state outpaced the national average. The thing, and I mentioned this before, and I'll throw it at you, the thing that popped into my mind, and I don't know if there's any correlation at all, Max, is that it kind of coincides with the beginnings of paid family medical leave, and I don't know if that maybe might have attributed some of this, but did you have any sort of gut reaction to this bad jobs report, apart from this not being good news for Democrats heading into the election?
Yeah, well, we're not a competitive state. We don't have new businesses that come here. We don't have growth in Minnesota. The people that we do bring here are not typically people who are building businesses. And big reason why is our tax and regulatory environment. It's just bad. So when we have these swings in unemployment, Minnesota typically gets hit a little bit harder just because we are not a good business state to begin with. And that's something that if Republicans ever take back power, if it's this election or in future elections, it's something that we have to focus on, because when you don't have a growing and thriving state, that's why you have huge property taxes. That's why you don't have a commercial base. That's why you have headquarters of companies that leave Minnesota. So this unemployment report, I think, is just part of a broader stew of things. I don't necessarily think it's paid family medical by itself. That doesn't help, certainly.
Right.
But we're just not a competitive state.
Yeah.
One like data point, I had talked to somebody last week where you have Fortune 500 companies in Minnesota. We have like 3 or 4 of them. Okay. And all 3 or 4 of them are over 100 years old. All of our Fortune 500 companies are over 100 years old.
Wow.
And what that tells me is you don't have new businesses that have started up and been successful and found their home in Minnesota. And the ones that do have left.
Yeah, that's an interesting data point, and you're absolutely correct. And your assessment on the jobs report makes sense as well. I think it's more, I think the sort of the Occam's razor approach, the most obvious answer is probably the correct answer. And that's one of the items that's on the wrong track of Minnesota list at AmericanExperiment.org. We are not a competitive state economically right now. I was encouraged with the conversation that I had with John Phelan, the policy fellow here at American Experiment, earlier this week. The guy's an expert economist, and he knows his stuff, and he believes that we can turn things around. Says that if we do get leadership that's going to do the right thing for Minnesota. It may take a couple legislative cycles, but hopefully you can maintain that legislative leadership for that amount of time. You know, if the GOP were to win, it could take a couple of cycles, but we can turn things around. It's just going to take a different, better pro-Minnesota, pro-business mindset.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long. It does take like a new flagship leadership in order to turn things around. I think we saw that with the different Trump administrations, where as soon as Trump came in, there was all this flurry of capital and activity and companies moving their headquarters back to America. And I think that's what's so depressing about a place like Minneapolis, right? Minneapolis keeps selecting the same type of leadership, St. Paul the same way. But if you just had a pro-business, pro-growth mindset and a leader who could come in and make that known, it wouldn't take that long to turn around a city like Minneapolis, whose commercial building values are in the toilet.
Yeah.
They just keep selecting the same leaders, and in some cases more and more radical leaders.
We're going to run through, I've got a stack of school-related stories that I haven't had a chance to cover this week. We're going to dive into some of those coming up. Speaking of Minneapolis, the judge dismissed a DOJ lawsuit against Minneapolis schools, but has grave doubts about the race-based policy. There's an interesting... The way that this story ended is rather interesting, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with everybody. Before we do that, though, let's go back to the Blaster line on a Freedom Friday. You're on and off-topic comments all morning long to 612-584-4565.
Hey, John, Tim in Cambridge. Speaking of going to the movies, did you have to sit through 30 minutes of commercials at the beginning of your movie as well? Yeah, I went and saw like a 3:30 showing, but the movie itself didn't actually start till 4.
Yeah. They're now required to go and tell you when you go. Well, it depends on where you're going. I don't know if it's a law yet, but I know AMC has adopted that when you purchase your tickets, it says that the film's not going to start for 25 to 30 minutes before the actual start time. You know, I miss the days when you got like 3 or 4 trailers, you were good to go, and you're off to the races, and that's just not the case anymore. I still have a hard time showing up late. I'm so punctual when it comes to stuff that even if, like yesterday, we went to a 3:45 showing, I knew there's probably going to be 20 minutes or 25 minutes of trailers, and we were running a little bit behind. I think the rest of the family did it intentionally, but I was like, I want to get to the movie theater.
Isn't the trailers part of the fun?
Yeah.
Don't you like the trailers?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I like them.
No,
it's like I didn't know that was coming out. I didn't know Iron Man 18 was coming out or whatever.
That's the difference between you and me, because I watch all the trailers ahead of time.
Yeah, true.
So
true.
You know, in our family, we've probably seen most of the trailers, but on occasion you see ones that you weren't expecting to go and see.
Yeah, I'm like finding out that some movie is going to come out for the first time at the movie theater, and it's like, I'll go see that one, full well knowing I will not go see that one.
Dude, the etiquette at the theater yesterday, I'm so glad that there was a group There was a group of people there, and they were way down in front. We were like in row F, and they were way down in front, and was like a mom and their 2 kids just on their phone.
Why?
Full brightness on the phone. They're just having full-blown conversations in the middle of the movie, you know. And you could see, and it was really distracting because I'm watching it, and I'm, watching dinosaurs chasing, people around, and then the quiet moments, they're going on their phone, and you could see that the moment the dinosaur showed back up, they would close their phone and they'd watch. And then the dinosaur would go away, somebody would talk, and they would go back on their phone, and they're having conversations. It's just like... Did you not watch the pre-show where it said silence your phone?
Yeah. You had the CEO of AMC telling you that. Grab your popcorn and your soda and don't look at your phone.
We need movie cops. They should be arrested and they should be thrown in jail.
That's right. Suspended from watching movies for the next 5 years.
Yeah. No, I'm down with that. Let's go full totalitarian on them.
Fun fact.
Catherine would love that.
For a movie theater.
What's that?
I used to work for a movie theater.
Which movie theater did you work for?
Marcus Theaters.
Yeah.
And it was miserable. I hated it.
Did you?
I did.
Did you have to clean up?
I did. I had to clean up after.
Yeah.
So I saw like the
like
last,
that.
and it was right in like Endgame times, like maybe a little before, like peak Marvel.
Yeah.
And so I saw like the end scene no less than like 3 dozen times. And so I was like,
because you had to go in there away.
I had to go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then most people left, and so I was watching the scene. picking up popcorn.
So you would see we're the kind of patrons that Isaac would love because we clean up after ourselves. Not everybody goes and
I would enjoy that.
and does
no,
that.
I can confirm no one does that.
Can you share like the worst thing that you ever found it?
Oh, I don't know.
We are streaming, so
That's
we're
true.
we're,
That's
we're,
true.
we're
Oh,
allowed. You
man.
can clean it up for the audience.
I don't know if I want to hear
There's
this.
this one time this guy like said he's like, oh, I dropped my phone in the movie and there was a movie showing. I was like, dude, there's a movie showing. You can't go in there. And he's like, no, I'm just gonna go real quick. And so he goes into the theater while the movie's showing and like turns on his flashlight, trying to look, or like turns on he brought like a flashlight. He's like trying to look for his phone under the seat, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to find my phone." It was a very weird experience.
Yikes!
That's what happened yesterday. That family that I was talking about. I don't know why the mom at one point, they were way down in front. The mom at one point had walked up the stadium seating, was looking for somebody else, and she had the light on her iPhone was on, and she's just shining it all over the place. And
yeah,
it was not. It was very frustrating. Yeah. Did people still try to sneak in when you were?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
Did people ever take out one of the large popcorn buckets from the garbage for the free refill?
Oh, I don't know.
I've never done that before, for sure.
I also probably would not have cared.
You're a liar. You're such a liar.
There's some bleak years in high school.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I loved going to the movies when I was a kid. I still love going to the movies now. I don't ever want to see it go away. You know, it seems like we always get those doomsday reports.
It's made a comeback, hasn't it?
It's starting to. It's starting to make a comeback, and I hope it stays because I want to see the quality of the movie theaters change. It's just because the standards of the theaters is the one that we go to. We go to the AMC in Coon Rapids, and it's okay. It's not the greatest,
Yeah.
It's got that kitschy movie, house to it, and they kind of take care of it. But the Imagine theaters are the ones that we've been going to more often. We usually go to AMC because we're A-list members. But the Imagine, I know, Pinky,
big time.
I know,
A-list.
Pinky's up, man. We were gold members. There was a gold member.
Great movie.
Tier.
Austin Powers.
That wasn't what I was referring to. There was a gold member tier at Blockbuster that most people weren't aware of, and we were gold members. You had to have rented a certain allotment of films to reach the gold standard, and my wife and I were gold members at that Blockbuster.
But have you ever been to like an Alamo Draft House or something like that? I mean, like those are remarkable. I think those experiences and the seats, and you get to lean them back and have heated seating, and
yeah.
That's nice. I didn't have that type of theater when I was a kid.
I don't need booze and food when I go to the theater. I know that people do that because it's just distracting. You got to look down. You got to eat. I want to be locked into the movie, but I do want my recliners. I will say I'm one of the weirdos that I miss the days when you didn't have the ability to go and schedule to pick your seats, when you actually had to get there early. You had to choose your seats. You had to wait in line. And I know it's a lot more convenient now, but there was a level of fun in that and work and effort. Like you had to put some effort into it. I kind of attribute the same thing to voting. I feel the same way about, like you need to put some effort into it. It shouldn't be that easy. You have to show an ID. Should just be one day.
Yeah.
See how I brought it back to
that was good. Yeah, it's a good segue.
Yeah, I'm a professional. I've been doing this for 30 years.
I will just tell you, the Blaster was from Cambridge. That theater in Cambridge is awesome. It's cash only. So you can go to the ATM and you can pay for a ticket.
Okay.
But like that theater, John,
their taxes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They're above board, I'm sure. But that theater is so busy all the time. And just up in Cambridge, Minnesota, I take my kids there. That's the closest theater we have to us. And yeah, it's cash only. And that theater is packed. For every blockbuster movie that's there, you would think just this little kind of...
What's the owner of it?
What? I think it's independent.
No, there's not like a...
No, it's not like an AMC or Imagine or anything like that. But... Yeah, awesome place.
There's an independent one up in Anoka that we've been to on a few occasions that we liked. But again, we typically go to AMC because of the Pinky's Up A-list.
Gold member.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get back to the Blaster line here. 612-584-4569.
Good morning, John. Happy Freedom Friday. If Mike Lindell wants to do some good and wants to get into politics so he can do something, he should support Lisa, and then she can put him in some position where he can do some good. It's not going to be as governor. He's doing too much damage to himself to do that. But maybe he can do some better being appointed somewhere in the government, and he can get his foot in the door and prove what he is saying about himself.
Listen, these are all good suggestions, but I have no expectation that any of that is going to happen. I think Mike Lindell is going to do what Mike Lindell does, and I think a lot of us predicted that this was going to be the case, or that he would do something like this were he not to go and win the primary. Max, did you have any quick thoughts on that, by the way?
I don't think it's impacting anything. Mike Lindell can do whatever he wants. He can ask for a recount of 50,000 votes or whatever. But I've talked to the candidates. It seems like everyone's like full steam ahead, just kind of running a general election campaign.
You don't think it's going to weigh down on him at all?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
In fact, I'm not even sure that he's going to raise the money to do it. It seems kind of grifty.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change.
Yeah, 900,000 or something like that to do it.
Yeah, it's close to $1 million. It's just okay. Put that money elsewhere.
Yeah,
do something else with it, for crying out loud.
These statewide campaigns could really benefit from $900,000.
Uh-oh, somebody's upset with you, Max, on the blaster line this morning here on the John Justice Show.
Max, don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody how awesome that theater in Cambridge is.
Yeah,
no, it's
sorry.
Horrible.
Yeah,
Gosh.
awful.
Yeah, well,
don't come.
You got to end up driving there. I mean, you got to take a bit of a, I'm not driving out to Cambridge to go to the movie theater, despite your glowing endorsement.
We could go to a movie together, though.
We could. End of Oak Street was good. Go see Avengers Doomsday.
End of what?
End of Oak Street.
What is that one about? I've never even heard of that.
Clearly, you haven't gone to the you haven't gone to the movies and seen the trailer for that one.
No,
it's a dinosaur movie. Ewan McGregor, Anne Hathaway, based in the 80s, where their block, essentially their neighborhood, and this is in the trailer, their neighborhood gets transported to prehistoric times.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a dinosaur movie.
Family friendly, I assume?
No. There's not for your little ones. There's dinosaurs are straight up just
ripping people apart.
And it's in broad daylight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So probably not good for the little ones. Yeah, they're a little too young. I was watching some of the videos and pictures you had posted recently on Facebook, and the little contraptions you had bought them were having a good time with your kids. But
yeah.
I think that would scare them. Let's go here. Maybe.
Yeah, you guys are missing it. We used to go to the drive-in where we used to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did drive-ins for a bit. It was kind of on the tail end, of their heyday, but we used to do drive-ins, and even the drive-ins when you would grab the speaker and place it in the window and the whole 9 yards. I haven't been to a drive-in in forever, but I enjoyed going to a drive-in.
We did a couple of drive-ins when I was in college. It was a fun college activity when you're going to a Christian school where you can't drink and you can't party. So going to the drive-in was like your greatest form of weekend entertainment.
Somebody else is going to, but actually you, Max Reimer, on the blaster line here on a Freedom Friday. So
okay.
Not to be the actually guy, but I think there's a few more than 4 or 5 Fortune 500 companies headquartered in Minnesota.
Is that right?
I can think of Target, Best Buy, 3M, General Mills, Land O'Lakes, Ecolab. I don't know.
Yeah,
not to be the actually. Have a great day, guys.
There's got to be a data point in what that was specific to what you were talking about, though.
Yeah, it was a one-off conversation I had last week. I'm not sure how many, but I think a significant portion of them, or maybe all of them, are over 100 years old. I'm not sure. I mean, maybe Best Buy is still part of the Fortune 500. I'm not sure.
That's actually that's the interesting question, is whether or not they are or not. I know they've been struggling for
a while.
Yeah. They don't sell movies. Speaking of movie, they don't sell movies anymore. That's what sucks. They used to be my go-to for my Blu-rays. No, they're not anymore.
One quick thing on Best Buy, they got that big headquarters down there in Richfield, and it sounds like they're trying to get rid of that building. Basically, and you drive 494. That building is huge, and it sounds like Richfield's going to be on the hook for some of it. Like, very strange circumstances.
Interesting. Joining us on in one of the comfy chairs this morning from the American Experiment podcast here at American Experiment, Grace Keating. Welcome back.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Hold on. Let's try that again.
Sorry, my fault. Go ahead.
Good morning.
There you go.
Good to be back.
What is your have you ever been to a drive-in movie theater?
No, I've always wanted to, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. The opportunity has just not presented itself to me, sadly.
Yeah, between you and Catherine, you go to the movies more often.
Yeah, certainly.
I don't think
I
Catherine-
watch many more movies.
I think Catherine's I think if she's going to the movies, she's going to protest the movies.
Yeah, probably.
I'm pretty sure she's out there rioting, saying, nobody go in here.
Yes.
Why are you wasting your time? Yeah, I'm only saying that because she's not here yet. So good to see you. Glad you're in on the Freedom Friday. AK Kamara will be making his way in soon, as will Katherine Johnson. A federal judge dismissed the DOJ's lawsuit against Minneapolis Public Schools, citing procedural grounds. The lawsuit challenged a policy in the teacher's contract that prioritizes certain teachers for layoffs based on race, which the judge expressed doubts about its legality. Although the case was dismissed, the judge noted that the policy still harms white teachers and could be challenged again. Let me just jump to the end of this particular story. Are you guys familiar with this whole race-based issue in Minneapolis? We've talked about it quite a bit in previous iterations of the John Justice Show. What I found was interesting, what he actually said in his ruling, because my assessment on this is the judge went looking for an excuse to not go and overturn it, and he found one. But in the meantime, he told everybody how bad it was. Okay, so he says, generally, let me back up here just a little bit. The Minneapolis public school system argued the Justice Department didn't have a case, in part because the race-based exemptions have never actually been used to determine whether a teacher was laid off. The whole premise behind this is the Justice Department sued MPS last year. They were alleging that the collective bargaining agreement with the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers violates one of the articles of the Civil Rights Act. When staff reductions occur at a particular school, teachers are generally subject to layoffs based off reverse seniority. But under the challenge provision, if the next teacher in line is a member of the population that is considered, doing that thing with my fingers, underrepresented, MPS must skip that teacher and instead lay off the next least senior teacher who's not a member of the underrepresented population. And of course, you get into the questions of who determines who is underrepresented and who determines who isn't underrepresented. Before I get any further, Grace, did you want to add something to this?
This is insane. So it sounds like the judge's response is basically because this hasn't happened yet. We don't actually have someone who, we don't have a white teacher, for example, who was fired instead of a black teacher. Because that exact circumstance has not happened yet, they can't do anything about this rule.
Well, that was the Minneapolis Public Schools answer. They were saying because we haven't actually discriminated against anybody, you guys don't have a case.
We haven't done it yet.
Right.
So when we discriminate in the future, you guys can come after us.
Right.
But
so you get further into the story. The U.S. District Judge, Patrick Schlitz, he rejected that argument that I just laid out. He rejected the argument that just because you haven't gone and discriminated against anybody, he says the contractual disparity exists regardless of whether or not the layoffs have occurred.
Duh.
Right?
Yes.
That's an easy.
Go Schlitz.
Under Article 15, white teachers have weaker seniority rights than black teachers, he wrote. This disparity does not spring into existence only if excessing occurs. It exists right now and will continue to exist as long as the CBA remains in force. He also questioned whether MPS could justify the policy under federal law. So is in his entire, post-decision brief, he's talking about how horrible and awful this whole thing is, right? Despite those concerns, Schlitz did not rule on whether the policy violates federal civil rights. Instead, he found the lawsuit could not proceed without the Minneapolis Federation of Teachers, which negotiated and signed the contract, but was not named as a defendant. Schlitz concluded the case could not proceed in equity and good conscience without the union and dismissed the remaining claims without prejudice. The ruling does not mean the policy has been found legal, So when I saw that, I went, this judge just looked for an excuse.
100%.
He didn't want to be the one to rule against this. He didn't want to face the backlash. So instead, he spends all this time talking about how it's discriminatory, how it's wrong, how you shouldn't do it, but then found this little teeny tiny loophole to go, but you know what? My name's Paul, and this is between you all. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, he was looking for a technicality, and because I don't know who appointed him or where he came from. However, if you're a judge in Minnesota and Trump's DOJ does something, it is your duty apparently to basically try to dismiss it. And it sounds like this was a small technicality, saying one party was not involved who should have been involved, while agreeing with the premise of the lawsuit. It's a joke.
How can you say you're doing your duty as a judge and acknowledge that something is wrong and unlawful and could cause discrimination on the basis of race and not do anything about it? Like, okay, this is going to sound intense, but like, how do you sleep at night? How do you wake up in the morning feeling like you've done your duty in this vocation that you've chosen? Because what happens now the plaintiffs have to go back and submit, substantially, materially, the exact same lawsuit and then just add one more name to the plaintiffs.
On its face, I think it's like
crazy. Excuse me, defendant's column.
It's crazy. Like if I had a company and I said, our policy is that we don't hire women, and then somebody sues me for that, and then it gets dismissed because it's like, yeah, that's our policy. We just haven't had any women apply to this job yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that on its face, it's still like a discriminatory policy. But just because it hasn't happened, like, that's the justification for a judge to throw it out. It sounds like he was looking for a technicality here.
Well, and Grace, to your point, this kind of goes back to something that I said earlier. We were talking about the FBI seizing these items from Eric Swalwell, continuing the investigation with him. And I made the point that I'm done being shocked by the deplorable behavior of elected officials. When you look at the varying degrees of deplorable behavior, to be redundant here, a judge going and doing something like this, isn't really high up on the list, but it's combined with it. I'm with you. How do you live with yourself? Why did this policy even exist in the first place? I mean, what sort of mentality, does one have to actually go and implement a policy without having at least somebody around going, yeah, this is really discriminatory and kind of racist against white teachers based off the color of their skin, and yet they moved forward anyways. But as I said at the top of the show, I can't be shocked by it anymore.
No, and that's exactly it. When you start letting the, comparatively smaller things slide, that's when you start to have a breakdown in our standards as a society. You have judges who aren't doing their job when they see something unlawful happening, and you have, elected officials doing very bad behavior in DC.
As we get ready to hit the top of the hour here on a Freedom Friday, our other guests will be joining us shortly. A.K. Kamara, I believe he had to stop for an energy drink. At least that's what he texted.
Oh,
I'm not sure he wanted me to share that with everybody, but I'm going to anyways, and I just did. Catherine Johnson will be joining us as well. And of course, your on and off topic comments all morning long. A lot of comments have rolled into the blaster line, and we will get to those in just a moment at 612-584-4565. It is a Freedom Friday here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
John Justice takes the line. Star Wars on the speaker shelf and NASCAR on his mind. Cold Zima in a paper cup. He smiles and starts the show.
It is the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. You can head on over to AmericanExperiment.org. You can listen to the show live there. Also on the MixLR app, where you can get caught up on the podcast at the end of every show, and across all the podcast platforms as well. Joining us in studio, we have A.K. Kamara, your RNC committeeman, and Katherine Johnson from American Experiment. Joining us very shortly, but Max Reimer and Grace Keating already seated on the comfy chairs and sofas in the American Experiment studio. A lot of comments rolled in based off of our opening conversation regarding movies.
Yeah, you guys brushed way too fast past Max digging through garbage cans to get a bucket to refill with popcorn
I heard
for
it. I
free.
just didn't want to give him a hard time.
Some dark days in high school.
How much is popcorn? $5?
Oh, it's more than that.
It was more than that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy buckets, Grace.
Raccoon behavior is not condoned because of
That was
the
like
price
Jeff
of popcorn.
Bezos being like, how much are pizza rolls? Like $12?
How much could one banana possibly cost, Michael? $10?
I don't know. It's probably what? Right now, it's probably $12-13, right? For a large popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least?
Yeah.
Dang.
But see, when you're an A-list member, you get rewards, so that can build up. And so it feels like you're getting free popcorn. Plus AMC does, they need to be a sponsor on the show for crying out loud. I need an AMC banner like right over here.
That'd be a sick sponsor.
You
should.
Yeah, it would. I'll tell you, actually, I have one I'll share with you in just a moment. But no, AMC, you can actually do refills on the popcorn.
Yeah.
So if we go to the theaters and Melinda's not with us, then usually we refill it and bring it home. And then Melinda goes and takes it and puts it in separate Ziploc bags to keep it fresh. And
now, have you ever done one of the like novelty popcorn buckets where you're paying like $40 or $50 for like the cool
the
cool popcorn?
You know who you're talking to, right?
I know. Which movies? Which
I have a whole collection of popcorn buckets.
Okay.
Of course you do.
Yeah, so I have on the top of my head, I can go. Let's see. I have a Revenge of the Sith one. I have a Mandalorian and Grogu. I have I have Last Jedi popcorn buckets. I have the infamous Dune popcorn bucket.
I was just gonna bring that one up.
I have that
Me
one.
too.
I have a Tron popcorn bucket. I know I've got a
Tron.
Yeah. I've got some older ones that are back in the corner, but yeah, I do. I don't go all. They have the really big ones that cost like $80 to $100. I don't do those. I usually just do the standard metal tin popcorn bucket. I dig those a lot. Yeah, and a lot of those have like action figures I haven't opened up in there. I forget. We're on the air, aren't we? Okay, I should get back to the play. This is not a conversation that we're having off the show on a Freedom Friday. So let's get back to a few of your thoughts from the Blaster line at 612-584-4565. Maybe. Computer's being slow this morning. There we go.
Morning, John. Phil from Jordan. Happy Freedom Friday. Thanks for the walk down memory lane regarding theaters. I worked at a United Artists Theater in Burnsville during high school, and I always pick up my trash after being an employee there. When Mrs. Doubtfire came out, I know that dates me, but we actually had snow shovels, small snow shovels we'd push up back and forth down the road to clean up all the popcorn and all the stuff, and then vacuums and different things at the end. But yep, good times. Loved working at the theater.
A fellow theater employee.
When I was working in Tucson, and I want to say it was for at least 3 or 4 years because I was there for 9 years. And it's funny because you could track the economic downturn through the Obama years by this free movie card that I would get from Harkins Theaters. So it started that I had a movie card from Harkins, and I could go see a movie for free whenever I wanted. I never had to pay.
What?
It was amazing. It was the best advertisement on the show gift that I could ever receive.
That is crazy.
It was fantastic. Just free movies whenever I wanted to go, no limit. Over the years, though, it slowly diminished and changed. They started limiting it.
Yeah, like the benefit
more and more. And then by the time I left, there was no more free movie card anymore. It was just like, it was like discount on popcorn and soda or something like that. It was like you could
reducing the benefit.
You could track the economic downturn based solely off of that free card. But that was the best, though. It was like
Harkins movie theaters.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a great theater too. It was a really nice movie theater. Let's go here to the Blaster line.
Morning, John. Phil from Jordan again. Yes, United Artists Theater when I worked there in high school. The other fond memory I had was going up on a rickety ladder to change the marquee that was out on Highway 42 in front of the Burnsville Center. in the winter. It was awesome. Yeah, I don't know making minimum wage if that was worth it, but it was definitely the adventure that made me the man I am today.
Wow.
Have a good one.
Shaped him.
I'll never forget, and then we'll move over to some news stories as the guests arrive. I'll never forget my dad and I, and he knows the story. When I tell the story, I know that he's going to know what I'm talking about. We had gone on, we'd done a couple of summer trips, right? Just when I was BMX racing, we were traveling around the country. We were in Northern California, and there was a movie theater, and The Silence of the Lambs, those films. The precursor to that was a film with William Peterson called Mind Hunter. And it was one of the first ones that had Hannibal Lecter in it. It was based off those books. So before the Jodie Foster Silence of the Lambs film, a few years earlier in the late 80s, there was this film called Mind Hunter. And they actually ended up remaking that as Red Dragon, I think, later on with Edward Norton. Okay, so if you follow those movies.
Yes. Okay. I'm glad you said that because it's Red Dragon, not Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Right. That's a completely different one.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I knew.
So the Red Dragon.
You knew there was a dragon.
Yeah.
The Red Dragon movie was what the original Mind Hunter was based off of, coming off the source material. I bring it all up because the guy mentioned the marquee. We were up in Northern California driving, and some, tricksters had gone and changed the marquee lettering in Mind Hunter. And they had changed it to eat, and a word that I will never say out loud in front of, certainly not in front of any woman. It was probably the first time that I'd seen that word, to which I had to ask my dad, hey, Dad, what is that the sign is telling me that it wants me to eat? And he was like, oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah, that was
delinquents.
Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience, but it was a lesson to be learned, as my dad always says, right? These are learning lessons. So I never did such a thing. We were talking about schools in the first hour of the show. I'm just got, again, a couple of stories here I want to run through. They've been in the stack all week. A civil rights complaint was filed against the Minneapolis Public Schools for a school supplies giveaway event that is reserved for American Indian students only. So just take all of the commentary that we had in the previous story of discrimination and apply it here. The complaint alleges the event violates Title IX by excluding students based off of race and ethnicity. The complainant, the University of Minnesota professor emeritus Mark Perry, suggests the event be open to all students or canceled. And again, as I said before, the fact that we even get to this spot where they are going and making these very specific, and discriminatory sort of events. It's stunning to me that we get that far, but nevertheless, here we are again.
They're just begging to get sued. It is unbelievable. And I had this thought. Yeah, exactly. I had this thought with the last story too, which is that they've created this system, and they want to create the system, which is literally the inverse, not the opposite, the inverse of separate but equal. They've got all of these students together, and they are trying to build a system in which they are treated unequally based on race. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
How are test scores doing in Minneapolis?
Not great, Max.
What does reading look like in Minneapolis? Can kids do math?
Yeah. I know.
We're doing all this crazy political stuff, and the fundamentals of what school should be. I don't even need to tell you. You can probably guess how Minneapolis schools are doing statewide.
They're doing absolutely horrible. And to your point, Grace, I often think that you have individuals that drive these because they want to push the agenda. They don't care if they're going to have to face a legal fight. It helps them in their legal fight. It brings in more individuals to their cause. And then unfortunately, you have too many people underneath that just follow in lockstep, thinking that this is the right thing to go and do. And a lot of it comes down to, these are they end up being like trial balloon discriminatory initiatives, wherein even if they get smacked down, they've done a good job of bringing more people to their cause. And so the next time they'll have even more support to do it. It's a slow chipping away and eroding of the values here in the state and ultimately, across the country.
Yeah, it does feel very much like, how much can we get away with, and pushing that a little bit more each time. And it's interesting too, because I feel like when I was in high school and I was a very big liberal, the mantra going around was, it's impossible for reverse racism is not a thing. It's impossible for a person of color to be racist against white people. And now I think that that's shifted, where it is it's not that it's not possible. It is good for a person of color to be racist against white people. And I think that's kind of what you're seeing with the policies that are being implemented in these schools now.
Yeah, and we certainly are not, we are certainly inclusive here on the John Justice Show, both male and female, and individuals of all colors. We celebrate all colors here. With that, we invite in our guest.
Speaking of
transition, all done intentionally. As he gets himself ready. What's up, AK Kamar? How you doing this morning, sir?
What?
Hold on. Oh,
I blame the gremlins. The gremlins.
really? Because I blame Isaac.
Same diff. Same diff.
Actually, in his defense, there is some maneuvering that needs to be done on the microphones when other people come in because of his mic. So good morning, AK. Good to see you this morning, sir.
Good morning. I brought in Catherine's favorite smelling energy drink this morning.
Oh.
I had to stop and get my Welch's Grape Ghost.
Grape drink.
Grape drink.
Purple drink.
At least it's far from you. I guess at least you guys are separated by the,
It'll probably waft over there.
Yeah, it'll be a test. How far does this waft?
Are you trying to get the wild card all?
Yes,
all,
yes. I'm
upset
really
out of
curious
the gate
about
this
her
morning?
authoritarian theater take.
Oh, yeah, I did think that was quite funny. Thank you for the shout out, Max, when you mentioned like police officers in the theater. And Max just quietly goes, Catherine would love that.
Yeah.
I would. I maybe would go. I don't know. I'm bad in a theater. I'm probably the person on my phone. Well, more likely sleeping, but if I went to a theater.
Of all the places that I would welcomely open sort of totalitarian authoritarian rule, it would be a movie theater.
Mhm.
I'd be totally fine with that. Just crack them down. You talk once, you're gone. Just bounce. Done.
Well, there's just like too much antisocial behavior going on in general in the public. Like my husband and I always talk about this, like people on their phone, FaceTiming at full volume, or, to like, why are you doing that? You're in a waiting room in a doctor's office or something. Like I feel like all this behavior has gotten out of hand. So maybe that's what we need, a little bit of authoritarianism.
Well, there's been this emerging concern about how young people can't communicate with one another. They don't have the skills to just simply carry on a conversation with somebody else, to the point where if a parent goes and talks with the child and they actually are well spoken and they stick out, it's like, wow, a child actually knows how to talk to somebody, because they're on their phones all the time. And you couple with that how we have lost so many of those public spaces where we do go and experience things together as a society. Fewer people are going out to restaurants now. There are fewer people going out to the movies anymore. You still have sports and people go out for live sports, but we just, in an era of, the black mirrors on our phones, we've lost the art of being able to just interact in a rational way within society. And, movie theaters is just one aspect of that. I mean, people just lost the etiquette of movies in the first place and they act like they're at home, and it just drives me nuts.
Yeah, and then like some people even dig through the garbage. It's like, what are you doing?
I know, those darn kids.
Boy, you really stepped in it. You really stepped in it there, didn't you, Max?
I can neither confirm nor deny I did that in high school, but I certainly witnessed it.
All right, one more school-related story, and then I want to talk a little bit about Peggy Flanagan. And
he witnessed his own hands digging through the garbage. I'm sorry.
I can't control it. Whose hands are these?
Thomas Rosengren, we've talked about him before. He's a former 6th grade teacher who withdrew from the Minnesota Teacher of the Year contest after a controversy involving explicit photos. And they were really explicit photos. We're talking about him with other dudes, sexually explicit, shown online. I mean, really, they were deviant photos.
Yikes.
He's now teaching the 5th grade at Da Vinci Academy.
Oof.
The school, which faced protests in 2023 over its LGBTQ-focused curriculum, declined to comment on whether it was aware of the controversy surrounding Rosengren's hiring. The explicit photos, which were widely circulated online, led to Rosengren's departure from his previous district. This is a story here from Alpha News. I'll refrain from getting into the. We talked about this when it first emerged, when they first had the story, and I'm going to refrain from getting into the details, just to say that the photographs were, again, they should not have been publicly available online in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know if this is still the case, but I know that it used to be that, and I was surprised by this, that school districts and schools, individual schools, could hold students accountable for campus behavior. Like if a student, even if it was out of school hours, say it was after 3 o'clock and a student was down the road and was at a grocery store or a convenience store and got into a fight or an altercation with another student, the school district would actually take action against that student. I mean, those same rules should be applying here when it comes to teachers and what they've posted online. It happens in virtually every other facet of employment where they're checking your online profiles now. But unfortunately, it seems as if individuals like this, they end up getting special treatment. Like there's people that are sympathetic to them, even though they've shown this type of deviant behavior. So I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts this morning on Freedom Friday.
The thing that's fascinating is that Minnesota, at this point, I can think of multiple Teachers of the Year winners who then were accused or even convicted of some pretty heinous moral crimes. Whether it was, I think there was a guy by the name of Abdul, and not this Abdul, but there was a guy named Abdul. And is a weird kind of side story. I worked with him at an after-school program. He went on to become a teacher. He had kind of transitioned from like middle school to high school, and then he worked this after-school program. But he had that. And then there's other teachers that have won Teacher of the Year. And so I don't know what it is about Minnesota's teachers that get elevated and pushed to the top. It's like they might have all these moral discretions, and they push them to the side because they represent some group. And so they decide this is a person we're going to elevate. But at this point, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near anyone that's even being looked at for Teacher of the Year. It's just that bad. There's so many stories now at this point.
Yeah, I think when you have so many stories coming out lately too about teachers having affairs with their students or statutory rape or whatever, it's like, because part of me wants to go, okay, is this guy bringing some of that to the classroom? If not, do I have like an issue with it? And the answer is still probably yes, because I think what we're seeing is like, you don't want your teacher, like if it was a female teacher, you wouldn't want your teacher to be like have an active OnlyFans account, right?
Probably already happened. Like that's the thing is like,
yeah,
there is no moral code anymore. And to your point, John, when I was in high school, I played football. And if I got caught smoking cigarettes off campus, I would not be able to play for the rest of the season. So there was like certain moral things that even if it's like not that big of a deal, if you're caught stealing and not on school property, you will not be able to play for the rest of the season. That's why a bunch of like high schoolers that chew, they would stop chewing when it's during the season. And then when the season's over, then you can go back, because if it's not during the season, then you don't have to worry about it. So
that was your school.
Yeah.
Devils Lake, shout out. Devils Lake High School. What up?
Devils Lake.
Yeah, I miss the days of accountability like that. I miss the days when, when a student was doing something that they shouldn't have been doing underage, that we actually went and held them, accountable. With this particular teacher, it falls in line with the indoctrination that the public schools and schools like Da Vinci are already doing when it comes to the LGBTQ curriculum that should not be introduced to any child under the age of 18. And so I imagine that when it comes to a person like this, it's merely seen as an extension, and therefore he probably is getting preferential treatment. The other teachers were probably passed over so they could hire this guy because of the controversy. And that's why you need to make sure that you pay attention to what your schools are teaching. Homeschool if you can, or get them into private school. And even if you're going to get them into private school, make sure you do your due diligence to check out the background of those private schools.
Yeah, that's exactly been the piece that I've been stuck on this whole time. Obviously, the teacher's behavior is a little insane to me, but the LGBT curriculum aspect of this, that phrase should not even exist in a state where half of our kids cannot read or do math at grade level. We should not be designing curriculum around social issues like LGBTQ. Pride, I suppose, is the word you would use. Yeah. Teach them reading, teach them math, prepare them for life, and leave that other stuff out of the freaking schools. Also, someone should fact check me on this. I am fairly certain that the Minnesota Teacher of the Year award is run solely by the union and is only open to union teachers, which explains a lot of the candidates that end up getting picked.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I think that's correct, Grace. It's is also sad, I think, that they do see this kind of degenerate behavior as an extension of that sort of identity, like you said, John, like the degenerate pictures you see of this guy online, I saw against my will, are part of being LGBTQ for some reason. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
You can do what you want in your private life and keep it private. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be an extension. It's like the pride parades. It doesn't have to be a thing where there are people so scantily clad doing things that are so just RX rated in front of children. It doesn't have to be that way. And so I think that's also a sad part of this too, that they are accepting that as part of this identity when it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, the good news is that this guy will have bathhouses to go to in Minneapolis sometime in the near future. So he'll be able to go and he can go get his freak on there. So just groans from the audience. All right, let's do this. I have a blast that I want to share. 612-584-4565. There's an article about Peggy Flanagan in the Star Tribune this morning that we need to get into because it's utterly ridiculous. I also have some fun items in the stack. We're going to talk a little alcohol a little bit later on.
Ooh.
It's been declining among people your age over here. You guys aren't drinking as much. You got to step up your game for crying out loud. We also have a list of the most popular mixed drinks. So I'm looking forward to going through that list a little bit later on as we continue to get your on and off topic comments all morning. Before I play this blast, and I also want to share a piece of audio. Grace, I want to go to you for just a moment. I know that you've been recording more in your Coming to the Classroom series, correct? Are those up yet or will they be up soon?
There are 2 more in post-production right now, so they'll be coming soon.
All right. So what we'll do is we'll play this comment here from a friend of the show at 612-584-4565. And then for those that are not familiar with Grace and her Coming to the Classroom series, I'll play you a snippet of one of them here in just a moment. On a Freedom Friday, we'll continue to take your emails as well. john.justice@americanexperiment.org.
Good morning, guys. I'm sorry, but because I have a lot of friends that are teachers, but the public school teachers are some of the dumbest people on the face of the earth. And I mean that in all sincerity. They're not the best. Those who can't teach, apparently, because, wow.
Okay.
That's Good Friday.
Not all. Okay. And if you're a good teacher, we're certainly not talking
I know some
about
awesome
you.
public
There are
school
some awesome
teachers.
public school teachers. That's true. There's also some really dumb ones. Be that as it may, especially the ones that are working with that lunatic at Da Vinci. Here is some of what you can check out at AmericanExperiment.org or on the YouTube page at Center of the American
In this
Experiment.
week's episode of Coming to a Classroom Near You, we look at the new requirement to teach ethnic studies in all K-12 schools in Minnesota, which must be implemented in 2026. Ethnic studies includes 3 distinct standards: identity, resistance, and ways of knowing and methodologies. The resistance standard takes learning to a whole new level. It requires students to describe how individuals and communities have fought for liberation against systemic exercises of power and organize with others to engage in such activities. The Ways of Knowing standard requires students to understand the roots of contemporary systems of oppression and apply lessons from the past that could eliminate contemporary injustices. High school students are instructed that resistance to our nation's social and political institutions is required, as they explain how the social construction of race was used to oppress people of color, evaluate policies affecting historically marginalized communities of color, and take action to affect policy. It's not ambiguous. The new ethnic studies standards don't just require learning. They require students to organize, to take action, and it's already playing out in classrooms near you. Teachers in schools across Minnesota are encouraging their students to organize using this resistance standard. For example, the principal at Eagle Ridge Middle School in Savage, Minnesota, sent a message to families saying he will not stop kids from leaving school to protest, and will have staff supervising the protest. But don't blame the principal. He's simply implementing the new ethnic studies standards. More concerning is that the activists now exhorting students to join protests are the very people who helped draft the ethnic studies standards in the first place. Far-left activist groups like Unidos MN are organizing Minneapolis high school students to protest. Unidos has also been promoting a 25-page guidebook calling on students to engage monthly in mass non-cooperation to halt the authoritarians' advance. Unidos is a prominent member of the Minnesota Ethnic Studies Coalition, and Jose Alvalar, the statewide director of youth programs for Unidos, formerly called Navigate Minnesota, served on the Minnesota Department of Education committee that wrote our social studies standards. The resistance is all happening according to plan, and it's officially coming to all Minnesota public schools this fall. When ethnic studies was presented to the Minnesota legislature in 2023, it was portrayed as the study of different cultures, students seeing themselves in the curriculum, and learning honest history. But like so many other familiar terms, Minnesota's ethnic studies has been hijacked to apply a liberated approach to understanding our world. Minnesota students deserve a robust education that includes learning hard historical truths and frank discussions on where our country has fallen short, not one that is confined to a narrow, politicized, and ideological worldview. Recently, California rejected a statewide ethnic studies mandate because it was too divisive. How will Minnesota respond? To learn more about Minnesota's ethnic studies standards, visit americanexperiment.org/ethnic studies.
It's a John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. Head on over to americanexperiment.org. You can listen to the show there live. Of course, download the MixLR app. You can watch the show at MN Think Tank on X, Facebook, and YouTube at Center of the American Experiment. And we have brand new John Justice Show social media pages. If you head on over to Instagram, John Justice Show, you can find the show there. Also on TikTok, same name, JON, John Justice Show. And we're putting up clips of the show in case you missed any of the highlights. And so usually you get like 20 seconds worth of material. But no, seriously, if you head on over, follow us there on the social media platforms. We would love to get a follow from you. And again, you can always get caught up with the show and the clips from the show that you might have missed. It is a Freedom Friday. We have a full house. Katherine Johnson is with us this morning here in American Experiment. Good morning, Katherine.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Grace Keating, of course.
Good morning.
Max Reimer, representative.
Good morning.
And AK Kamara. Good morning, AK.
Good morning.
Energy drink in hand.
Indeed. Naruto shirt, rocking.
I have a couple of Peggy Flanagan stories to share. First one here from Alpha News on Tuesday. Democrat Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan published a social media statement which said, "I love Minnesota. I'm proud to be a Minnesotan. Who wouldn't be?" That tweet was an apparent jab at Michelle Tafoya. In recent days, Tafoya has been criticized for sympathizing with Minnesotans who say it's embarrassing to tell other people that they are from Minnesota. Tafoya, who's also been criticized for a 2024 post in which she appears to say that she will be fleeing Minnesota soon. Now, while Flanagan's tweet appeared to be an attempt at shaming Tafoya, Flanagan herself has a history of making controversial comments about Minnesota. And this is what I wanted to focus on because as we were talking about, I think last week when she was giving her first appearances, and they were borderline disasters in my opinion. I just don't think she's ready for prime time. And on top of that, she's got a lot in her history that Tafoya and Republicans can draw scrutiny from. In the days following the death of George Floyd, she did an interview with NPR, and she says, "We've got a really incredible state if you're white. If you're a person of color, if you're indigenous, if you are an immigrant or a refugee, the opposite is true." I imagine, by the way, that if you were to go to ask Peggy Flanagan about those comments now, she would probably say, let me put it this way. If I were Peggy Flanagan, my response would be, well, it was that way back then, but the DFL's made a lot of progress now. And it's a great place for people who are black and who are immigrants. Later that same year in an NPR interview, she said, "Minnesota has been built on white supremacy. That might be a tougher one to get around. Unless we tackle it in a really aggressive way. Never mind. We're not going to see the systemic change we need." That following year, she issued a lengthy public statement in response to the shooting of Daunte Wright, where she said, regarding Wright's death, "I'm grappling with the stark reality. Minnesota is a place where it's not safe to be black." And the statement went on to call for rethinking policing and rethinking crowd control when people express righteous and justifiable outrage that our state is not safe for black people. AK, let's start with you. Any thoughts on Peggy Flanagan's comments here?
Yeah, listen, every Democrat that has adopted, this language, whether it's like critical race, critical gender theory, like on its premise, on the surface, they have to reject everything that built up to this point, because like that's what they're critiquing, is that history has been built by white men, cisgender normative, all this garbage nonsense. So for Peggy Flanagan to attack a comment saying, thinking about fleeing Minnesota because of the trifecta, it didn't say, oh, I think that Minnesota is awful. It's like, I'm fleeing now because of these terrible policies. For her to be that critical, it's just because they don't think about the long-term ramifications. Oh, Minnesota is amazing and beautiful in its current context. So I think it's a nothing burger. And when you see all of these different publications and media outlets that are kind of glomming onto the story about Tafoya's previous comments, it's because they have nothing. And they're just trying to help Peggy Flanagan. Yeah. I mean, ask her what she thinks about the United States. Ask her what she thinks about Christopher Columbus and that statue that she was happy was toppled.
Yep.
Like, is that showing pride in this country? Pride that Minnesota decided to honor Italian Americans? Of course it's not. So I just think it's funny because their entire premise is built on everything up to this point in America and in Minnesota has been awful and racist.
Before we hear comments from Max, Grace, and Catherine, I want to add one more element to this and something that you just mentioned. An observation over the course of the past week. It could be anecdotal. I don't think that it is. But what's really interesting to me is that when you talked about the media jumping onto the story, across all the local media channels, suddenly there's a bunch of reporting on issues that we have not been talking about in the longest time. Suddenly now, Operation Metro Surge is being talked about on multiple levels, multiple different ways, where I hadn't seen a single story about Operation Metro Surge in months. And this plays into this article from the Star Tribune that I'll get into in just a moment, just to sort of reinforce your point that there is a lot of carrying of the water for the DFL that local media is currently doing. Representative Max Reimer, do you have thoughts on Flanagan?
You know, it's interesting because they try to lob this comment about this one-off comment from Tafoya talking about how she wanted to leave because of DFL policies. Well, it wasn't that long ago that Governor Mark Dayton said, if you don't like what the DFL is doing in Minnesota, you can leave the state. Mark Dayton said that, you know, and that sentiment has been shared by other DFLers too. If you don't like what we're doing, you can always leave. And so when somebody says, I don't like what you're doing and it's making me want to leave, now all of a sudden, I think what Michelle Tafoya said, a lot of Minnesotans share that sentiment, not even just Republicans, just people who want a normal state. They're like, I travel to other states and it used to be about Prince, or it used to be about the Mall of America, or it used to be about a myriad or hockey. You'd go out of state and people would talk to you about the normal topics that your kind of classical Minnesota used to be about. Now, when I go out of state, I'm in Naples, Florida, probably once a quarter. Every time I tell people I'm from Minnesota, it's like, oh, what about that Ilhan Omar? Or, wow, you guys really got defrauded. It's like embarrassing topics. Michelle Tafoya is right when she says that. And the only way you change it is a change in leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. What she was commenting on was other states' perception of what's happening here in Minnesota. I think a lot of that goes back to when Tim Walz was the VP candidate, and that was when I first started hearing Minnesota referred to in sort of a laughing at us way. You know, he was on stage doing the jazz hands things, and then it became fraud, and then it became Ilhan Omar. But at the end of the day, what voters should be asking themselves and asking Peggy Flanagan is, if this is such a terrible state to live in, if you're not white and you're not cisgender or whatever, you're not straight, what on earth has Peggy Flanagan's party been doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years? Yeah. They have been running our state on every level for years and years. And if it is this bad and deeply racist, they should be pointing the fingers at her party.
Yeah, I think that this Peggy Flanagan problem is something we see across the country too with the whole Democratic Party, because they fully embraced in 2020, like woke one, as AOC called it,
So, yeah.
which we shouldn't let them get away with. We're not out of woke one. We're still in woke HELL right now as we speak. Listen to the stories we talk about. But they fully embraced the craziest people in their party around that time, like Peggy Flanagan. They brought them in as voters, and now it's fully makes up the majority of their party. So we have candidates like Peggy Flanagan and other extremely radical people on the left all throughout the country. And I think it'll be interesting to see how normal people in the middle, respond to these particularly radical candidates in the election.
First off, we are streaming, so you can say hell if you'd like. I just want to let you know.
Just trying to be delicate.
No, I know.
Ladylike.
Listen, I appreciate it. Usually I do the HE double hockey stick. So I was just thinking, you can throw a hell out there. You can throw You can throw a damn out there.
Hell yeah.
Let's just throw out all the profanity right now. No, I'm just kidding. I want to get to the Star Tribune article, but let me add something to this. There's been an emerging theme. I had a lot of guests this week, and I've been I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and I think it's partly because we're heading into the general election. So there is a narrative out there of, especially when it comes to the Republicans, to, better the state, turn the state around. But what I have, and I think beyond that, I think it goes deeper than that. I have seen a level of optimism and positivity and people talking, even though despite all of our problems, people talking more positively about the state than I can recall. I mean, this goes back to pre-COVID. I've been hearing a lot of that lately. And I do, just one little anecdote on that. I have no evidence to back this up, but I also think that the individuals who were so fed up that they did leave, because we know that there was a mass exit of people here in Minnesota, I think those people, I think that has slowed down. And so the core individuals that are here, especially Republicans, have decided to commit to stay here. And because of that, they're committed to making the state better. And so I've seen a level of positivity that I hadn't heard in years over the course of the past month or so.
Yeah, I think, listen, Minnesota is an amazing state. I think with all of the different, weather that we have, if you're a snowmobile person, you got all that. If you like, running in nature and running around lakes and all
driving your Mr. Zers.
Yeah, all the Mr. Zers out there. And honestly, that's what makes Minnesota great. And you can go up in the Iron Range, you can go down to the prairie. We have an amazing state and people like this state. So a lot of this critique that people have are like, hey man, like I love all these things, but if this is how our policies are going to impact everyday business and life, I want to leave. But you're right, John. There is a level of optimism, but I just want to be very, very also critical of this aspect. I'm also hearing from a lot of people like, this is our last time. If things don't change now, I'm out.
Yeah.
And there's been, shout out to Frank Long. I know that he had his beef and his contention, but he was a long-time activist in Minnesota and he left. He's gone now. He's moved out of Minnesota.
Was that my fault?
Not your fault at all.
Sure.
It's just,
I don't care if it was.
No, in the grand, the grand scheme and looking at kind of the long run, this is why it's important for people to really say, this is where we put it all on the line.
Yeah.
I just think that we have an amazing opportunity this election cycle. We can't let it slip away. And so if you love this state and you don't want to be part of woke 2.0, you have to get out there and vote like that's actually what's at stake, and get your neighbors and your friends and the people that say, yeah, we're not going to go back to this lifestyle, and keep that optimistic view, because Minnesota has so much potential to be great again.
I'm holding out for woke 3.0. I heard that's going to be awesome. I hear woke 3.0.
Woke 3.0, electric boogaloo.
Vast improvements.
You're just in the vat, plugged into the woke matrix.
You know what? Maybe that's what I'll name my AI band, Woke 3.0. We were working on some names this morning. Let's go here to the blaster line at 612-584-4565 here on the John Justice Show.
Hey, good morning, Paul from Brooklyn Park. Happy Freedom Friday, everyone. The Flanagan campaign must have absolutely nothing. I mean, they can't run on what Peggy's done. So they're going to make 50 little comments like girls gossiping about. That's what Michelle said. You know what? Michelle Tafoya has come out and saying it's embarrassing that Peggy Flanagan is the lieutenant governor of the state.
Yep.
It's terrifying to think that she could be a senator. It's terrifying that she's in charge of anything.
That's a really interesting point. It must suck to be writers for Peggy Flanagan, because you've got like virtually no resume there. I mean, with her time being lieutenant governor, I mean, she's just been lieutenant governor. So there's not really much that she can go and hang her hat on.
Even Peggy Flanagan says, I don't know anything about the fraud. I had nothing to do with that. The guy who actually handles the state knew about it. Like, you're outsourcing the bad things and trying to take credit for the good things, doing that with my finger. But it was interesting. I went to an event.
Fingers? Just one finger.
Doing that thing with my fingers.
Just the one finger.
Doing that thing with my finger. That thing.
Hey, stay on your side of the couch, man.
He's doing that thing with my finger. Hey, okay.
Are you auditioning to be a teacher at Da Vinci?
Yeah.
Hey-oh. Sorry.
Where do I go from there?
But yeah, listen, Peggy Flanagan trying to like do
no,
this thing.
Hang on.
Okay, you got it.
I went to an event. Okay, that's where I was.
Yeah.
I went to an event, and they reminded me that like the one thing that you're like responsible for as lieutenant governor is to handle the Capitol grounds. Like, you're in charge of decor and making sure that like things stay upright. So like the fact that
Mowing the
Peggy
lawn?
Flanagan, maybe you hired the lawn care company. But the fact that Peggy Flanagan let the Christopher Columbus statue get torn down and then like celebrated it, it was like, you had one job and it was that, and she couldn't even do that, and then celebrated the fact that she failed at her job.
Wasn't there also like a satanic display at the Capitol? for a
Yeah?
while?
Yeah, there's
Would
that
be under
too.
her purview.
I think it's still there.
No, it's
Is it,
not.
it's gone now?
Just
Yeah.
satanic
Yeah.
people. I don't think this display's gone, but the people.
Okay, the people are still around.
And then all like the drag show, like all the stuff in the rotunda. But to your point though, Max, like when it comes to running on her record, she probably wants nothing more than to do that. But everyone that understands politics is like, but it's not popular with people beyond just our radical
Your base.
Marxist base.
Yeah.
So you really can't. The only thing, and the blaster pointed this out, she can only attack what could be with a Michelle Tafoya, U.S. Senator, or attack Trump. That's all she can do. They can't even bring up their accomplishments because they're so radical. I mean, I would love nothing more than for Peggy Flanagan to put on her Protect Trans Kids with the knife K-bar on her shirt and run around and campaign. Be your true self, Peggy. If you're watching this, let your freak flag fly, girl.
I think, hasn't she done that enough?
No, she needs to keep doing that so
Oh,
people
keep
know
doing
that's
it.
what they're
Okay.
voting for.
Just keep the freak up.
Keep the freak up.
Keep the
'cause
freak
that's
up.
what she
I don't
is.
think that'll be that hard.
Be a great campaign slogan for her. Peggy Flanagan.
Just
I'm
gonna
keeping,
say that.
Keeping the freak up.
Yeah, I think too she has a feeling about her that is not super genuine, in my opinion. If you look back at the way that she used to dress, for example, it is not very similar to the way that she dresses now. I don't question anything she said about her heritage or anything like that, but there has been a transition that's occurred in the way she presents herself. And it is to really lean into certain identities and things like that that I think she sees as favorable and help her. And I don't think that comes off very well to most voters when you seem like you're just not a genuine person. I think that's what people hate most in politicians. So I think that is actually going to work against her in Woke 2.0 anyway.
So two things. One, I think I'm going to work on a new AI song, Keep the Freak Up, Peggy Flanagan. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That's great.
I got to work on that over the weekend. This article here in front of me, when I saw it, I laughed out loud. Peggy Flanagan isn't a Democrat socialist, but here's where she agrees and doesn't with the DSA. Like, so how long until we're going to get the Michelle Tafoya isn't MAGA, but here's where she agrees and doesn't agree.
Yeah, right.
With MAGA. I mean, give me
I won't hold my breath.
break already. This is where Flanagan and the Democrat Socialists agree. This is where Flanagan and the DSA don't align. She's in the article. It says that she joins a growing number of this would be Angie Nixon's victory, joins a growing number of Democrat socialists finding success over the past year, but don't count Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, the Minnesota DFL nominee for U.S. Senate among them. Though Republicans have tried to label Flanagan as a socialist, she hasn't received the endorsement of any DSA chapters and identifies solely with the Minnesota DFL.
Because those are so different at this point.
Oh, to that point, here's some audio from Peggy
It
Flanagan.
means passing Medicare for all to make health care available and affordable once and for all. It means universal child's care. It means stopping ICE from terrorizing our communities, and it means fighting corruption.
Yeah, means fighting corruption. A lot. Listen, her stance is not, and in the article even gets into it, and I won't bore everybody with it. But when you get into the piece, listen, she's DSA all the way. She's simply
100%.
avoiding getting labeled as part of the party because they know that there is a portion for the Democrats where it is toxic to be labeled as that, despite these victories across the country. And just another quick note, I want to bring it up again. I mentioned it yesterday, but the Angie Nixon victory, she was competing against Alex Vindman. He was the guy who had leaked the big, beautiful phone call that caused all the consternation for Trump. The Democrats went after him. He had spent a ton of money, but what was being reported after the fact was apparently he didn't campaign at all.
None.
Like apparently he didn't get out and do anything that was necessary to knock on doors, to meet people, any of the groundwork. He just decided they were going to spend all the money on his campaign. And I don't care where you are, you just simply cannot run a campaign that way. And the Democrats found that out in Florida.
Yeah, and listen, I think the Democrats, and I've said this for a long time, as dumb as some of the things they do are, strategically, they kind of see the long view. just like in Michigan, you have Abdul El Sayed, who is like, I'm not DSA, I'm a capitalist, right? But yet all the people who come and campaign for him, just look at where they lie. Same thing here in Minnesota with Peggy Flanagan. They're going to try and say that she isn't this, DSA type person. They're going to probably just label her as like, we're progressive, because they know that the average person, when they hear that, they reject socialism. So it's not that they don't want to run that way. It's just that they understand from a strategic standpoint, you will lose badly. So it's incumbent upon Michelle Tafoya and Republicans to just specifically push the issues that she stands for. And then you can clearly lay out that, yes, she is aligned with Democrat Socialists of America. She wants to fundamentally change the actual makeup of this country. She supports all of these laws that are discriminatory against people that are white, that are straight, that are Christian. That's what she stands for. She wants to tear down that entire system, but she's not so dumb, or her people aren't so dumb that are helping running her campaign, that she can just go out and say that just blatantly.
Let's get back to the blaster line, and we'll take a quick break here on the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. We're going to talk a little Minnesota State Fair. I'm doing this. Yeah, I knew Catherine was going to be excited about this. Apparently, there's a State Fair lip balm. Are you guys from
Of course. What do you mean? The Star Tribune one?
I knew that. I'd never seen this before.
They just announced a new flavor.
What world are you living in?
This is the story that I have.
Wild card.
We'll get into it. Also, there's an update on the Muddy versus the Ville.
The Ville.
It's not. It's the Ville.
It is Ville.
My Melinda made that very. She's like, it's the Ville.
And it is for Burnsville.
It is Burnsville.
That is what I have come to learn.
They're out of Burnsville. Gang out of Burnsville.
Yeah, so we do have an update on that. We'll get to that coming up in just a moment. Continue to get your blasts in at 612-584-4565 here on the John Justice Show.
So Peggy Flanagan's touting universal child care. Well, haven't we learned over the few years of universal pre-K, it's really not about the free child care. It's about them getting their hands on your children and starting the indoctrination as soon as possible.
I just want to take a quick moment and remind everybody that we're going to be having a discussion about America's drinking remains at a record low coming up very soon here on the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment. I just wanted to tease ahead. That was the only reason why I made that comment.
Think about it. Now that school's out for the summer, how are Minnesota students doing? Not very well. Minnesota ACT scores fell again last year and are the lowest they've been in 10 years. In fact, fewer than half of Minnesota students can either read or do math at grade level. Think about it. We used to brag about our schools. Now we're losing to states like Mississippi. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
And now, here's commentary on the latest issues facing Minnesotans. From the hosts, policy fellows, and guests of American Experiment. For more content, head on over to the Center of the American Experiment's YouTube page or at americanexperiment.org.
There is certainly a culture at the City Council and at the Mayor's office, again, over the last 10 years, that has just not been willing to hire police officers. And we have seen rhetoric and action that has very much been about defunding the police. We filed a petition called a writ of mandamus, which is basically a Latin word for we command, where we're asking the court to hold the mayor to his duty and hire those police officers. And we have tried to detail in our court papers the real world effect this has on people, including our brave clients who've come forward and put their name on court papers and who've experienced everything from bullet holes in their houses to family members who've been struck by a vehicle and in a hit and run, never solved, to personal vandalism at their homes and property where they've had property stolen, to murder in their neighborhoods where they don't feel safe, they don't feel protected, they literally feel they cannot go out at night. Because we challenged it on behalf of the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, and we said, this is a violation of the single subject and title clause of the Minnesota Constitution. We are challenging this one section on behalf of our clients the binary trigger clause, which had to do with how you define a trigger that can, with one pull, fire off multiple shots.
And that's just mashed into this 1,400 page thing, right?
Yes, that covers everything from health, higher education, firearms, energy, agriculture, human services, health, and paid leave. Not a single subject. The court in August of 2025 struck down the bill and severed basically one provision relating to the binary triggers. Judge Castro had some interesting words for this, and he said, out of respect for precedent favoring severance, I'm just going to strike down the binary trigger amendment. But then he says, quote, make no mistake, during the late hours of May 19, 2024, lawmaking did not occur within the framework of the Constitution. This court respectfully suggests that if there has ever been a bill without a common theme and where all bounds of reason and restraint seem to have been abandoned, this is it.
It's John Justice, and you know that feeling when your body is tired but your brain just won't shut off? That's where CBN comes in. It's a naturally occurring hemp cannabinoid known for its relaxing, sleepy effects. CBN helps tell your body that it's time to rest. The Mini Leaf Night and Night Plus Sleep Gummies combine CBN, CBD, and CBG to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling refreshed. Free shipping is available this month at MINNELEAF.com. Taste happy at MiniLeaf.com.
If you would like to support The John Justice Show, become an advertiser. For more details, email john.justice@americanexperiment.org.
Think about it. Minnesota has always been a low-crime state. But according to the most recent Bureau of Criminal Apprehension data, we are now above the national average when it comes to Part 1 crimes, a category that includes crimes like murder, assault, rape, and carjackings. Think about it. Minnesota is now a high-crime state. Visit highcrimemn.com to learn more. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
Hey, good morning, John. Still trying to figure out this line thing. Anyway, great show so far, you guys. Love the Freedom Fridays. Anyway, I want to add one more item to the Minnesota embarrassment bingo card. How about the drag show that the Minnesota State Fair is now promoting? Seriously? How many other state fairs throughout the United States promote drag queen shows? Honestly, can we just not have anything that can stay wholesome and have fun at without just embedding this perversion? All right, talk to you later. Thanks.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the week. This drag, it was, I wish I had the story. It was like drag show : something. That was the name of the review. And it was being put on by somebody named Lala. And the last name was spelled Luzcious, which I believe is supposed to be Luscious. So Lala Luscious was going to be hosting a part of this. And it's going to be multiple days at the Minnesota State Fair where you can go and get your drag on if you'd like.
Who's doing it? Like,
it's an organization. It's like a traveling drag review.
It's a BIPOC drag troop. I don't know. What do they call it? Are they a troop? A queer troop? I don't know.
A gaggle.
A gaggle.
a gaggle.
Yeah. But that's what it is. It's like a BIPOC drag, whatever. Like to the Blaster's point, this is kind of, again, you're like your standard fare for Democrats. Like the only reason this is happening is because you have all of these critical gender people, because like that's what the drag show stuff is really about. It's people that have this Marxist critical, gender ideology where they're like, there's no such thing. Gender is just how you feel from day to day. So if a bunch of gay men want to dress up like women and gyrate, like that's just part of who they are, children. This is not weird. This is not sexual. But yeah, it's depraved. And they're doing it because this is what the Democrats, this is what their part of their base is now. They have to let all of this very disgusting behavior come to the front to try and normalize it. And using the state fair as a platform to do that, it just shows if you want to keep this state, you have to push back and go and vote for Republicans, because with Republican leadership, this ain't going to be a thing. Go and do your weird, freaky thing in your clubs and whatever, and do your brunches. But like the state fair is supposed to be for family. Going there and being like, sorry, kids, we can't go over here, or having to look at the schedule because we're going to do all these things in public. That's not what the average Minnesotan wants to worry about at all.
No. And I don't even and I know this isn't correct across all drag queens. Okay, I just want to say that up front. I know that there's individuals within the drag community that are agenda driven, but for the most part, like I don't even give I don't point any frustration to like the drag queen reviews of the drag queens themselves.
Sure.
You have individuals that are allowing them to go to these places to do these performances. My point being that I think that if they were prohibited from doing that, I think most drag queens and drag reviews would be like, yeah, okay, we'll just go do it where we typically do it, where we normally do it. They're being allowed to. And so in that case, I don't really begrudge the drag queens all that much. You do you. I don't care. It's the fact that they're being allowed to go to these locations. It's the individuals making the decision to allow this type of inappropriate behavior to be on the grounds. That's the problem. It's not necessarily the drag queen.
Where is the show happening? Like where in the state fair?
You know what? Let me take a moment and look it up because I didn't grab the story here.
Do some research. I need to know where to go and not go. But I will say,
The Miracle of Life barn.
I will say they have a lot of crazy things at the fair. Okay, part of the fair is they got like the bearded lady and stuff like that.
Yeah, freak shows.
Freak shows.
Yes.
So I don't know, drag queens.
You think
Maybe
it
the
fits?
fair is like the best place for them.
Yeah, keep them in the freak show portion. I'd be cool with that. But I think it's going to be like at the Snell band shell, like where you go and like everyone's like kind of sitting out on the grass and all that.
I like that area.
I do too.
So it's called Power: Drag Review. Okay. It'll be taking place the 27th and the 28th, the West End Market.
Oh, West End Market. Never mind.
So there
complete opposite side.
Opposite
No.
Yeah.
Isn't the Schnell in the West End Market?
No, I
Isn't
think
that the Schnell one?
The
no.
KSTP Heritage Plaza.
Yeah, that's over there. Yeah. It's like the newer area. That's the West End area.
Right.
No, we're going to be at near the Center of the American Experiment. We'll be near the grandstand on the 29th. Well, we'll be there. I mean, we're going to be there a lot, right? Or is that the only day that we're going to be there at the fair?
That is our one day
That's
at
the
the
one
fair.
day at the
Yes.
fair is the 29th.
Saturday,
Okay.
August 29th. And we're there all day.
Yeah.
You can get some free merch.
I'll be there 11 to 1. I hope you guys can make it out on that Saturday. You'll be there.
I want to be there, but I'm going to be at a wedding. Shout out to Ivory Hecker. She's getting married that day.
A wedding, schmedding, whatever.
Yeah, I know.
You should come to the fair with us.
I know.
Just kidding.
I'm going to try to be there.
We could do,
Be
thank
fun.
you, Max. We could do an unofficial day at the fair as well. I will be there. I always take a day off work, go with my mom, do a whole thing of it. And this year, I feel like I got a busy schedule. So I'm really trying to fit it in wherever I can. If anyone wants to schedule any other days, I'm happy to go.
I'm looking at the story here of the Power: Drag Review. Free with fair admission. Okay. This is the first time a drag troupe has been featured in the official Arts Affair pop-up showcase lineup. I think it kind of goes back to your point, Catherine, that this is part of a specific group of individuals. High energy numbers, stunning costumes. Some dare say they're fabulous.
Stunning.
I know what they're doing. I know exactly
Quintessential
what they're
local
doing.
entertainment as well. And there'll be an encore performance going on in another location after the fair is over.
They're in the area where they do the like twirling and the dancing and things like that in the West End Market.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
doing a pop-up there. That's kind of nuts, actually.
That
That's
makes
very public. You can't avoid it.
Can't
It's
avoid
in
it.
the middle of the area. That's a little nutty.
Yeah, so just tell your children that they're clowns.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah. Just say they're clowns.
Yeah.
Just go.
It's a fair. It's,
Just go that route. Just go
bearded
that route.
ladies.
And say they're clowns. I wasn't aware of the lip balm, but apparently, according to Katherine Johnson, it's a big deal. I'm looking at a story here from the Star Tribune. Minnesota has been through a lot since last year's Great Minnesota Get Together. They cannot help but inject something into it, right? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And those who decide the Star Tribune's lip balm flavor thought we deserved something nice. So this year's flavor is Minnesota Nice. Minnesota Nice has a flavor.
What does that taste or smell like?
Very bitter.
That's not
Yeah.
Very
passive aggressive.
Very bitter. It's a floral scent, in all seriousness. Inspired by the state flower. Anybody know the state flower?
It's the lady slipper.
There's one more word attached to it.
The pink lady slipper.
No. Or is it just a descriptor? It says showy.
No.
It says showy lady slipper.
That's a descriptor.
I don't think so.
That's a descriptor. That's just a descriptor. That's
I
not-
thought
it's-
they were calling it like blooming ladies. I don't know. Any event, this is a good one. Okay, so I like this one. Sometimes they do like pickle or whatever, which is a pass
Weird.
for me. But this is the best thing the Star Tribune does all year. Okay, they stand up there and they give out cool, novel chapsticks at the state fair. So I think we should celebrate them for doing that.
lip balm. We do have more Minnesota State Fair news to share. A hat tip to the 5 of you that got the reference that I just did. As we enter into oh my gosh, we're into the 3rd hour of the show already. How does this happen? It is a Freedom Friday here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment.
John Justice takes the line. Star Wars on the speaker shelf and NASCAR on his mind. Cold Zima in a paper cup. He smiles and starts the show. Freedom Friday on the dial where the loud opinions go. Whoa. If you got truth, bring it in. If you got fire, let it spin. Don't hold back now. Say it clear. They're listening right here. Freedom Friday, raise your voice. Freedom Friday, make your choice. John Justice, open mic. Say it now, say it right. Freedom Friday, let it fly. Freedom Friday, reach the sky. Call the show and tell him why. Freedom Friday. All lights.
We have a full house on a Freedom Friday. You're on and off-topic comments all morning long here on the John Justice Show, presented by American Experiment. John.justice at americanexperiment.org. 612-584-4565 is the line if you want to leave us a comment on our blaster line. And joining us in studio, we have RNC Committeeman A.K. Kamara, Representative Max Reimer, Grace Keating, and Catherine Johnson from Center of the American Experiment. Isaac is producing things this morning. And, of course, your comments here on the blaster line all morning long, 612-584-4565.
John, when you brought up Woke 3.0 for the new AI band, I'm thinking you need to go with the social justice reggae version to be Wokemon. Have a great day. Sorry about that.
At least he apologized afterwards, right?
You're fascinating to talk to.
You know, how do I want to word this? Maybe I don't want to word it at all, and I should just move on. I was just going to say that when it comes to the people of Jamaica, they don't seem to get offended by anything. Like, I was thinking, is that offensive? Like, for me to go, like, you know, it's Wokemon, you know? Like, if you did that for other demographics, people might get upset. But I'm thinking, when it comes to people from Jamaica, I think they're fine with that.
They're chill.
Yes, because they smoke a lot of weed.
Because they're all high all the time? Is that
yeah, I mean, it's like, that's the thing in Jamaica. You're just kind of chill, man.
No, most of the people, like, even if you talk to like Hispanics, you know, you show them a picture of someone wearing a sombrero, they're like, that's fantastic, love it. But if you show it to like a woke white
good point
chick,
yeah,
they're like, oh,
yeah,
so racist.
It's usually other people that get offended for the minority group.
That's right.
That's a great point.
True.
Speaking of Jamaica, I just want to take a quick a quick moment and mention that I want you to head on over to Minileaf, minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. They get me a good night's sleep every single night with their night gummies. They taste fantastic. I take one before I go to bed. I drift blissfully off to sleep, and I wake up feeling refreshed to do the show every morning here for Center of the American Experiment. We'll talk a little alcohol later on. A lot of people are switching from alcoholic beverages, and the Spooky Mini Leaf tonics are a perfect choice for that, along with their fun gummies, their delicious chocolates as well that my wife loves, the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. Eric and his wife, Lacey, they run Mini Leaf. It's done locally, packaged locally. The tonics are made in Eden Prairie, and all the products are third-party tested. Head on over to MINNELEAF.com and check out everything that Mini Leaf has to offer. Minnesota officials held a presser yesterday regarding the lawsuit to prevent gang violence at the Minnesota State Fair. 7 alleged gang members agreed not to attend the fair, while 3 others are prohibited from unlawful activity within the safety area. The court ruled that the Muddy Gang and is a criminal gang and granted the state's request to prohibit certain actions by the 3 remaining individuals. And apparently they all agreed. So 7 of the alleged gang members, 3 associated with Muddy, 4 associated with the Ville, have all agreed not to attend the fair. Ellison, Attorney General Thief Ellison, says if they comply once the fair is over, Ellison and the Ramsey County Attorney John Choi will drop all legal action against them. This is the weirdest story, in my opinion. What a bizarre move by these gangs to agree. I mean, can you not just go to the fair and not do gang activity? Can you not just go and just behave yourselves? I don't understand any of this.
Like Keith Ellison's like negotiating a ceasefire, it sounds like.
It's weird.
Well, can we just go back to that quote that they're not allowed to do illegal things in the vicinity of the fair?
Thank you.
What?
Yes.
Why can they do them in the first? They're allowed to do illegal. That doesn't make no sense.
So here's my understanding of it. Like reading through the filing, reading basically what the current reporting is. Essentially, the initial request was that they would be able to discriminate against anyone that is affiliated with these two gangs. And then there was pushback being like, well, what are you going to do? Walk up to every young black male that looks like they're of Somali descent and say, who are you? And then say, are you on this list of people that we can discriminate against? Which is, yes, what they should do. Like quite literally, that's what you need to do. So instead of going forward with that plan, which would be effective, they've instead decided to focus on a couple of the gang leaders, bring this action forward and say that we are going to go through and basically hold you basically accountable for a law that was passed last session that allows the state to go after someone's personal finances. And they basically treat them as an unincorporated entity. That's what they hold them, this gang affiliation.
So strange.
And so what they've decided to do is go after the leaders and say, we're going to bring down your entire financial house of cards unless you agree to stay away. And if you agree to stay away, we will then not process or charge you. So this is like the dumbest of all things. I want these people to be busted. I want every member that's affiliated with a gang that is participating in this crazy amount of violence to be locked up and thrown in prison until they basically say, I'm no longer in the gang. But instead, this is what they've negotiated is like, okay, these gang leaders, they're not going to go, and therefore you're going to have a lower likelihood of having basically the violence spring up. I just think that you've now handed a victory to a bunch of gang leaders that they can negotiate the terms of when they can and can't be gang members, which is dumb. It should just be never.
Yeah.
Bust the gangs, man.
Yeah, none of this should have. It's ridiculous. I agree with you completely. Max, did you have any further thoughts?
No, it's interesting to hear AK talk about that because basically that's a task, like an admission that we're just going to let crime continue to happen, and then we're going to leverage the fact that you're involved with crime to negotiate you not coming to the state fair. And all I can think of is, listen, between the Muddy and the Ville, it's probably a lot of Keith Ellison donors.
Yeah, a lot of money, man.
You know? I have the barber of DeVille keeps popping into my head for those of us. I am the Muddy and DeVille. I'm sorry. Do you guys have any idea what I'm referring to? The barber of nothing? I know.
Musical?
Yeah, it's
a movie.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm very.
The age gap between us really throws off the comedy. I know there's people that are getting it online. That's fine, but I'm sorry.
You tell yourself that.
Continue. I know. I do. I'll get some emails that'll say that was a good reference, John. Way to go.
I'm very skeptical that keeping 7 individuals out of the fair is going to help stop the so-called teen takeovers that we've seen all over the country and at the Wisconsin State Fair. It's groups of massive hordes of people, young people taking over and causing violence. So what? Is this all driven by one person at the top? I can't imagine this makes any bit of a difference.
They should spread the drag queens around because I bet it would make it less desirable for the gangs to come in and conduct their gang activity with so much flamboyant awesomeness all over the fair everywhere. When I was working in Riverside, San Bernardino, early in my radio career, there was a mall right across the street from the radio station. That mall was in downtown San Bernardino, really rough area. There was a crack house right next door to the radio station where I worked at. And often you can look out the window and see homeless people peeing right outside there on the glass. It was nice. It was
wonderful.
Great. Or you had to step over homeless people as you walked in to do your overnight shift. Yeah, it was great. But that mall was riddled with gang activity. The local city leadership came in and for like a fairly decent cost, they went in and revamped it, the Carousel Mall. And so they had a carousel in there. They redesigned all of the signs outside of the Carousel Mall. And suddenly it wasn't desirable for the gangs anymore to go there because it wasn't rough enough for the local San Bernardino gangs to go in and do their hangout at the Carousel Mall. So they ended up going, and then a subsequent mall down a few miles away got really upset because that's where they ended up going to. So they ended up shifting to a
Listen,
different mall.
you're actually onto something here. Tim Pool
Shocking.
he grew up in Chicago, and he often says, and I agree actually with this assessment, the best way, if you want to break up gangs, a lot of people in gangs are about being proud and having honor, right? As crazy as that sounds, like you offend someone, you step on their territory or whatever. What the punishment should be is they should force all of these gang members to like literally dress up as babies and make them crawl across the ground with like a nuck in their mouth and wearing a diaper. Just humiliation. If you are caught, if you are arrested as a gang member, it should be like you have to wear a bright pink like binky and you have a bonnet and they just parade you around, and like that's half of your punishment, and be like, man, I ain't gonna be doing that, man. Like quite literally, I think that's the best punishment. You send them to jail, good. They're gonna hang out to all their gang members, get all their street cred up and go and stab some people or whatever. No, make them dress up like babies and parade them around, man, and like stream it live. Like this is what Sheriff Fletcher should do, live on patrol. If you bust a gang member, you force them to like put on like a diaper and you film them like crawling around on the ground.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
let's do it.
Max is writing the bill as we speak.
Yeah.
Well, back in the early 2000s, Sheriff Joe Arpaio in Arizona, he made all the inmates wear pink.
Yep.
All of the inmate wardrobe was. He also had them outside, which sucked as well. But he had they were, especially in that part
outside in Arizona.
It was brutal. Yeah, but they all had to wear pink, and that of course caused controversy for the
or make them dress in drag, and they can be part of the power.
It's like part of your community service.
It's your community service. If you're busted, you have to become a drag queen.
Drag review. It should be like The Amazing Race when you have to go and you have to do the various challenges, and a lot of times it's like theater performances, and then you're judged by the individuals who are in charge of those theater professional performers, and they're very, very strict about it. They should do that. They should have La Luscious should then have to go and judge the gang's drag review, and it has to meet their criteria.
There we go.
And your sentence will be dropped.
And I imagine gang activity would fall just dramatically.
This story here, I was going to move out of the stack, but it actually kind of fits into our conversation. So you guys remember the prominent New York politician who stood outside the courthouse and talked about stealing toothpaste and toilet paper was a basic necessity for people and soap and all that?
Yes.
Days after that, New York socialist Emily Gallagher defended the shoplifting for basic needs, a California store ended up being ransacked by a mob. If you want to see exactly what the modern looting looks like in practice, look no further than what happened in southeast LA. Last weekend, a massive street takeover completely blocked an intersection in the city of Bellflower. Dozens of cars aggressively spun their tires in the streets. A highly coordinated group of criminals targeted a nearby AZ Market. This was not a massive corporate superstore. It was a beloved convenience store owned and operated by a local family for years. The surveillance video from the scene showed up to 40 suspects swarming the small business. The masked individuals did not just walk in and grab tubes of toothpaste. They literally used heavy power tools to cut through the security gates and completely smash the front windows. Once inside, they spent 2 chaotic minutes completely ransacking the store before effortlessly blending back into the massive crowd outside.
Yep.
Just
crazy,
incredible. I mean, it was kind of a correlation here, even though there wasn't like a direct correlation, but it flies in the face of what that socialist comments were. I mean, we all knew they were ridiculous.
Yeah, and like understand this worldview that these socialists have, whether it's Keith Ellison or this other elected official, like they really do have this mindset that they think, well, people that do crime are only doing it because we haven't created an environment for them to be able to have their greatest levels of success. And I was going to jokingly say, maybe Keith Ellison should just pay the gangs to not show up. But they probably thought about that.
Oh, sure they did.
I'm pretty sure it's actually happened. I've saw some stories, if I think back years ago, that they're like, well, see, people that join gangs is because they don't have enough economic opportunity, which is not wrong. But in order to have economic opportunity, you have to get rid of the crime. A lot of people think that poor areas have high crime because they're poor. It's actually the opposite. It's because there's so much crime, areas are economically depressed and suppressed. But I think that ultimately, if you give people an opportunity, they're not doing the crime because there's not other things for them to do. They have chosen because they know that there are far less consequences to commit acts of crime because no one's coming after them. It's very easy to go and break the law in a lot of these liberal, areas because they know that there's no consequences.
Yeah, it reminds me during the George Floyd riots when they were doing everything they could to excuse the rioting and to justify it. And I had heard quite often different refrains from politicians, but essentially saying looting and riots are the voice of the voiceless, and basically saying like this is totally excusable. And we haven't come back since then.
And when you zoom out too, there's definitely an element to this of wealth redistribution. And that applies, that does not stop with just big businesses and corporations. That definitely does apply to small businesses as well. If you are perceived as someone who is doing well in society, you're owning a business of your own, you're on their hit list.
We have a suggestion for the title of the bill that you guys were referring to on the blaster line this morning here on the John Justice Show.
Hey, Max, I got a title for your bill that you can draw up on that. Call it Drag the Ditch in Drag. How's that one? That'd be awesome.
All right.
Drag
okay, I think I know where they're going. They're saying
because I don't.
If you get arrested for gang activity, you have to go clean the ditches dressed like a drag queen.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, drag the ditches of drag.
Drag the ditches of drag.
Because like they make him go clean up the side of the road and stuff. Some of that stuff.
Drag the ditches in drag.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
Yep.
Okay.
Little bit of a journey, but I appreciate the
Ponder it.
destination. Yeah, we got there. Quick one. Minneapolis man, baby mayor, Mom Jeans Jacob Fry is urging residents to ignore a weekend rally by Jake Lang, known for his provocative and racially charged events, plans to lead a freedom of speech rally outside the Minneapolis City Hall, featuring speakers like Shiloh Hendricks.
Oh, wow.
Who has a history of using racial slurs, according to the article from Fox 9. Oh, it's good. This is Bring Me the News. Fry has advised residents not to engage with the demonstration, hoping to prevent the spectacle Lang seeks. Then don't bring it up, Minneapolis man, baby mayor.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was happening.
Just keep your trap shut. Just don't tell anybody. And the handful of people that want to come down will come down. Everybody else won't be aware of it, and it won't be an issue. But I can't help but think that that's what he actually wants by going and drawing attention to it.
When is it? I haven't heard about it.
It's this weekend. It's this weekend. I know I hadn't heard about it either. I had no idea that Jake Lang was coming to town.
It's just performative. He made this whole video about it and was like, "Don't show up, these awful people." It's just performative.
Yeah.
No one's gonna show up.
He shouldn't have brought it up in the first place.
So but Shiloh Hendricks is making a speech at this thing?
Yeah. It should be rather colorful.
I might want to tune in.
Yeah. In our group chat, I sent you a screenshot of a poster. That's what that one is. So if you remember, right after the Shiloh Hendricks case,
that's right.
Yeah. So it's that one.
Yeah, now I remember.
And it's all about listen, Jake Lang.
He really shouldn't have brought it up then.
He is just doing, grifting to the highest degree.
Yeah, he's sad.
Shiloh Hendricks. We've talked about it on the first show, Freedom Friday back, and I talked about it. And I'm like, listen, if this is what your worldview is, set aside the freedom of speech issue, and then there's just you're a garbage person. Show up to the garbage person, I guess, rally if that's your prerogative. And as a person that believes in freedom of association, associate with those people at your own peril. Here's what I will say though. I wish that Jacob Fry would, talk with so much fervor about all the gangs in his city, maybe.
Yeah.
Put a little bit more of the energy into breaking up the gangs and less focus about people that say naughty words, because who cares? They're just naughty words.
I forgot. I had forgotten about that one. And I'm actually kind of surprised it hasn't gotten more attention, to be honest with you, based off of just how egregious the labeling of that event was.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
The percentage of Americans who drink alcohol remains at a record low of 54%. It's the lowest since Gallup began tracking back in 1939. The decline is attributed to increased awareness of research linking alcohol consumption to health risks, with 86% of Americans aware of such studies. While beer remains the most popular alcoholic beverage, preferences are shifting towards liquor, particularly among younger adults. I've seen different versions of the story, and I've talked about it a bit on the show, and none of them have focused on this element to the the alcohol consumption dropping among young people. I believe there is a direct correlation with what we talk about on a daily basis, well, no, on a weekly basis, of the rise of smartphones, social media, and a lot of young people are getting essentially the hit that they would have off of alcohol. They're getting it through their phones. You trade off one for another. If you've ever spoken with addicts of any sort or talked with anybody who's dealt with that type of thing, you know that often when it comes to an addict, it's not enough just to stop what it is you're doing. You have to go and replace it with something else positive, because there's a dopamine hit that you're getting from the bad behavior that you are participating in. And because of that, you often have to go and find something positive to replace it, because if you don't, you're really going to hit rock bottom, and it's harder to go and stop doing whatever you were addicted to. And I'm convinced that the same thing rings true here. I mean, maybe it's one positive aspect of the rise of social media and smartphones, but I think there's so many young people are on their phones all the time. That's where they're getting that dopamine hit from, and it's less enticing to go and grab alcohol on top of all the awareness issues that are listed in the stories. But I'm curious what you guys think. Let's start over here on the left, though. Catherine, do you have any thoughts on this?
I feel like people are probably just replacing it with like gummies or THC drinks.
There
was
was a study done that's saying that obviously has gone up because of the legalization across the country as well.
Yeah, that's what I think I see more so, is people just switching to that sometimes instead of alcohol. But I don't know. Maybe you have a point. I mean, there's definitely less. Alcohol tends to be like a social thing, right? And you go out and you drink with your friends.
There's that too. Yeah.
There's less social activity going on now in the world than ever. Sort of people are on their phones at home or whatever. So part of that, I would assume, is probably just, the decrease in people actually going out and having fun with other people.
Yeah, I always scratch my head a little bit when I hear stories like this. I think they've been saying this about Gen Z for a while, that they're the generation that doesn't drink or whatever. I personally have not experienced this anecdotally in my life. I don't really know anyone who chooses to not drink just to not drink. But if anything, I think I would side with you, Catherine, and say I'd attribute that more to people either choosing, gummies or something, or just the decrease in old school style parties, which is certainly something that's happened with Gen Z. That that's on the kind of on the outs right now. But I also think this is just a fad. Like, honestly, tune back in like 3-5 years, I think drinking will be at its old levels.
Well, certainly depending on the outcome of the election in November, it could be. It could go.
Could see a good spike here in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It could go up quite a bit. Max, you have any thoughts?
I think you bring up an interesting point about the second level effects of this, where on its face, the two things that have decreased pretty dramatically are drinking and then teen pregnancy. And I think we can agree that it's probably a good thing, right? But it also indicates that we are more antisocial than we have been before. There is a forest for the trees here that, drinking is a social thing. And then obviously younger people are having less sex, which is probably a good thing if you're not ready for the responsibility of a child. But I do remember reading an article about how teen pregnancy also is dropping. And that's, again, on the surface is a good thing, but it's also an indicator that younger people are becoming more disassociated with one another.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that sometimes you kind of muddle the message and you put everything together. I do know that Gen Z and also Gen Alpha are showing a higher tendency towards returning to some type of religiosity, whether that's finding more Orthodox, Christian, joining Catholic Church and things like that. So you're starting to see an increase there. But I also think that there is a trueness to, there are certain things that are like coming of age, having a house party, consuming alcohol, that's like, that is a reflection of whether or not you have a society that has a lot of social aspects to it. And I think you're not going to get together with a bunch of your buddies and just smoke marijuana. That's more of like very, very small group versus having a house party. You're going to have a lot of alcohol. So I think that is true, that there is more of a societal reflection that people are less social because of social media. And we know that that's been a huge thing. I will say, though, that I think there is kind of like this tipping point where there has been this regression, and we've talked about it before, of Gen Zers and Gen Alpha starting to ditch smartphones. So I'm a little bit more optimistic that maybe people are just making more health conscientious and, trying to have a better life, not having, relationships outside of marriage and having sex out of marriage. And I tend to want to believe that is actually what is occurring. We'll see, though. I mean, I think that the older Gen Zers, you guys are cooked, but I think that maybe the younger Gen Zers going into Gen Alpha, that's where you're starting to see a little bit of this kind of change of not wanting to continue to embrace this antisocial behavior.
Well, and there's kind of to back even further from what I was saying. We used to be bored when I was young. You were. I mean, and you don't hear that anymore. You don't hear kids being bored anymore, and a lot of it is because of what I talked about before. But a lot of those habits when you were younger, the parties and all of that, hanging out with your buddies, it was obviously taboo if you were underage and all that. But there was a lot of boredom because there wasn't nearly as much to do, and I think because of the fact that there is such a variation in different forms of entertainment that you can now partake in and watch and view on so many different levels. That boredom that I had when we were younger, where my buddies and I would go out and try to find things to entertain ourselves, and sometimes it was through inebriation. We would go out and drinking and all that, but that's just not nearly as prevalent as it was before. And I don't hear anything, like even in pop culture, you don't hear any storylines of kids being bored anymore. It's just not. And that used to be, if you go back and watch old shows and old movies, that was always the thing that got the kids into trouble. Boredom was the devil's plaything at the time. You just don't have that anymore. Now the kids are all locked in on their phones. Let me play this blast that came in 612-584-4565 from Jody.
John, we used to go to the bar, and it was called the meat market. Now you don't need to have that kind of social interaction because you're on your phone.
Yeah, now it's just...
And just remember, at 1 o'clock, you all swiped right. Have a good day.
I was gonna make a joke of they're all swiping right instead of going to the bar instead.
That's true.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, everyone's slow.
True.
At the end of this piece here, it says Americans' alcohol use has changed significantly in recent years as concern about its health effects have grown, and I do agree that's a big
I think we're learning more about that too. Just even being that it's so carcinogenic, that there's more studies that are linking it to cancer and all sorts of things. Like I've read those.
Fewer Americans are drinking, and those who do appear to be cutting back, including by turning to non-alcoholic drinks or other drinks, like these spooky mini leaf tonics, which are brewed in Eden Prairie. You can head on over to MINNELEAF.com and check those out. Delicious flavors available there at the website. And of course, the night gummies for me and mini leaf, they get me a good night's sleep. If you have trouble with your sleep, be sure to go to MINNELEAF.com. Taste happy at minileaf.com and get yourself some night gummies. Let's go here, have a little fun. We got a pocket wallet survey.
Woo!
Very fun.
Here we go.
First pocket wallet of the John Justice Show presented by American Experiment.
I don't. I think maybe
it might be
on a Freedom Friday.
Maybe
I think so. It better be good.
Let's hear how great we are.
This cocktail is the most ordered drink at bars worldwide. Worldwide, and it's the one Americans Google the second most often. Would you guys like to take a stab?
I have a guess.
Okay, Catherine?
Negroni.
Okay.
Martini?
Okay.
Rum and Coke.
Okay.
Why would you people are not Googling that?
Old fashioned.
Okay. Isaac? No guess there. The margarita is the most ordered drink at bars worldwide.
I could see it.
This is according to the Bacardi Cocktails Trend Report of 2026.
Okay, that sounds real.
There's your pocket wallet survey right there. The Bacardi, which is kind of funny that Bacardi admitted that the competition beverage, because Bacardi doesn't make
that rum?
Tequila. Yeah, it's tequila.
Right.
No, Bacardi's rum.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm saying a margarita's tequila. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised they actually admitted that.
Good for them.
Yeah, who needs to know what's in a margarita? It's just like tequila in the mix,
And salt, So it says it ranks the drinks people order the most from the company's global consumer survey. Anyone want to take a stab at second and third? Anybody? And you did not know. Nobody named second.
Nobody named
second or third on the list.
Red Bull vodka.
We're talking
gin
about
and tonic.
We're talking about mixed drinks.
Gin and tonic.
Okay, gin and tonic. Grace.
Come back to me.
Okay. Max? Second and third?
Jaeger bomb.
Jagerbomb. So I'd say either Manhattan or maybe
say martini.
All right.
Like Long Island iced tea, like Sex on the Beach, something like that.
Nope. Actually, and Sex on the Beach. We have the top 20 here. We'll run through it. It's not even on the list.
What?
I know.
What? That's not something I'm familiar with. Like, I've heard that in movies. I've never seen someone order one or it be on a menu. Like, what is it?
They're not great. I remember ordering it or getting it. They had the pre-mixed bottles you can get from the store, and listen. To be honest, we did it just because it was called Sex on the Beach. We're like, oh, we're getting Sex on the Beach, but it wasn't that great of a drink.
So in Fargo, I can't even remember what the name of the bar is now. It's like downtown Fargo, but they had Sex on the Beach night on Thursdays, and it was like $5, and this thing was like 32 ounces, and you would just get hammered.
Yeah. So
Broadway, that's what it's called. Broadway in Fargo. Super delicious, and you'll drink a lot of it.
So, Catherine, it should be up your alley. It is a fruity alcoholic cocktail made with vodka, peach schnapps, orange juice, and cranberry juice. It became famous in the 1980s, typically served over ice in a highball glass with an orange slice and a cherry. I always thought gosh darn, I'm talking, aren't I? I always thought that the name Sex on the Beach was incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
Because who wants to do that?
It sounds delightful, but I will never order it for the sake of. I'm not going to say that. I'm sorry. The drink.
I was going the other way.
Drink sounds.
No.
So, what was your point?
I was.
We're catching up now.
I'm
We're
sorry.
catching up. Yep.
Yeah. I agree with you on that.
I don't like sand.
I don't
it's
like
coarse
sand.
and it's rough.
See, but
irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Growing up in like Midwest, right? I mean.
Thank you, Max.
You wouldn't even necessarily know.
They got my reference.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah, like growing up.
Sorry, Grace.
But listen, growing up in the Midwest, maybe it sounded appealing, the name, because you're like, oh, that would be cool,
that's a good
right?
point.
Like,
Yeah.
but I've never been on a sandy beach.
Yeah,
because it's different. I mean, you can go on like a sandy lake beach, but it's not the same.
Did you say there was grapefruit in it? Did I make that up?
Cranberry juice, orange juice, peach schnapps, and vodka.
I feel like we are like crossing, winding. Are we talking about the drink? Are we talking about literal sex on the beach? I am having a hard time keeping up with. AK was just talking about literal sex on the beach.
Yeah.
You can't do it in the Midwest.
Yep.
But then we're talking about, and there's grapes involved.
Yeah,
it sounds delightful. I'm like, I'm so lost.
He would need a lot of blankets, otherwise it just
Otherwise,
it's
I mean, you're just getting sand in all these crevices. It sounds actually awful.
Yeah. But, and to be honest, having grown up in Southern California and spending a lot of time at the beach, it's not that great.
Sounds awful.
It is a task. Like, it is effort to go to the beach, enjoy the time there, but then when you leave to get it all, it's just.
Have we figured out what number 2 on this list is?
What is it? What is it?
I'm sorry, mojito.
A mojito. Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
I love
Thank you.
mojito.
I'm sure the whole audience was waiting with bated breath to find out.
Yeah, it took a while to get there. That was a journey we all just went
winding.
Third, if you like pina coladas.
I love a pina
That should have been an easy one, I think.
Yeah.
The Bacardi produced the report with a London-based trends consultancy group, drawing on consumer bartender surveys along with interviews of people working in the industry. Most of the next to several spots go to drinks with 2 ingredients. Max, this is for you. Rum and Coke, whiskey and Coke, a vodka soda, gin and tonic. A dry martini is the first drink in the top 10 that takes more than a pour. The next several spots belong to drinks that take almost no work to make. So rum and Coke, whiskey and Coke land at 4 and 5, and we'll go through the list here in just a second. I went through phases. So like for a while, I was a 7 and 7 guy. I ordered a 7 and 7, and then for the longest time,
Seagram 7 and 7 Up.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
Yeah, whiskey and 7 Up, 7 and 7. Seagram 7.
Seriously? Ew.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Together in one cup?
7 and 7.
That's like mixing light and dark, is it not? Like,
that was good. It was.
Isn't that
it's good? I used to get it all the time. I didn't realize it was weird. Yeah, it must be a generational thing. Then I moved over for the longest time to Bacardi and Coke, and then for a while, when I started to pack on the pounds as I got older, it became Bacardi and Diet Coke because that was healthy. Now I just go straight to the rum. I just do straight up spice.
Let's stop pretending.
Don't water this down with soda or anything.
Right to it.
I got a job to do with this drink.
Do we have drinks of a personal favorite drinks among the group? Anybody want to
rum and diet? So I'm that's what I
usually
get.
Thank you, AK, for saving this bit.
Yeah, rum and Diet Coke. I also do like Tanqueray and lemonade, specifically Tanqueray, not just any gin. That's probably my second favorite drink.
Okay.
My favorite drink is a dark and stormy. I don't remember what's in it. I think that there's rum. It's really good.
Okay.
I guess I would like, I really like specifically gin and tonics with Hendrick's gin and then like cucumber. Like they have this like Fever Tree cucumber stuff that is good.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Good.
Ooh.
That's otherwise, I don't know, whatever's fruity
Yeah.
at the place. Pina colada's good.
Just a beer.
Yeah,
Give
just
me
a
a
beer
beer.
Just Coors Light.
I know this is not going
Those mountains blue.
This is not going to stun anybody. I've never been much of a beer guy. I did Guinness for a while. I was a Guinness guy. But like drinking a Guinness is like drinking a chocolate shake.
Yeah, like
It's like it's like a meal.
Yeah, it's
it
like
really is
an
like
experience.
having
Yeah,
a
like
meal.
that was a reason that they think that they
I think
created
that
it was
was
to
the
like
original thing. Yeah.
to like stop just rampant alcohol consumption because it fills your belly or something like that. And I don't know if I saw that on a TV show or heard that on a podcast.
Oh, I don't know if you talked about it on the show. They are trying to reverse engineer the original formula that was lost with Guinness because they discovered a bottle from the original factory, like in the ocean, and it was perfectly preserved. And apparently they lost the formula in a fire. So they had to they have this bottle now to say, we're going to reverse engineer the
Interesting.
original
it's
Guinness.
Like, it's like New Coke, but different.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's not real. That's like a movie plot. That's not
That sounds like
happening.
No, I'm telling you, it's a
movie
real
plot.
story. You can look at it. Yeah. Isaac knows.
Isaac nodding.
And now that I'm thinking about it, it was actually Andrew on Monday. He was talking about that land deal or lease deal that Guinness did. That's where this.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I watch outside of today's episode.
Thank you. You know what?
You said that very convincingly.
Dude, straight to my heart, man. Straight to my heart. I had a friend of the show, lawyer extraordinaire Jeff O'Brien. Actually, he texted me early this morning. He says, FYI, in case you ever question my loyalty as far as my listener status, I am holding off on listening to my download of the new Kiss Destroys Anaheim album that just dropped at midnight until your show is over.
Huh.
I appreciate the loyalty. Unsurprisingly, we have a lot of comments that have rolled into the blaster line on this
here we
topic.
go.
Let's go.
Why not?
Let's go here and hear from Benjamin.
Hey, John, I know it sounds disgusting, but if you take 7-Up and Captain and mix it together, it also looks disgusting, but it only tastes like the spiced rum flavor afterwards.
Okay.
One of my friends showed me it, and I was impressed, but also never drink it. So
Have I done my Dr. Pepper is just barbecue Sprite conversation with you guys
Excuse
before?
me?
I think I've heard that phrase before. Barbecue Sprite. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Barbecue Sprite.
Dr.
That's
Pepper.
one word for
Yeah,
it.
Dr. Pepper is essentially just barbecue Sprite.
I like that.
I know it's never
Okay.
really grabbed hold, but I think it's brilliant. If you're, it's made in my view. So, should we go through the top 20? You guys going to the top 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Coming in at number 20 is the passion fruit martini.
Never even heard of it.
That's
Sounds good.
specific.
19 is the Paloma. I have no idea what the Paloma is.
I almost guessed that earlier. Yeah, grapefruit. Yeah.
Is that,
I was
oh, is
thinking
that okay? Good. I don't have to look it up. I should have looked this up. Screwdriver comes in at 18. Never been a fan of the
I
screwdriver.
mean that
Really?
when I think of a screwdriver, I just think of like destitute. You just
College.
you're
I
grabbing
think
the
of college.
vodka and the orange juice,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
barely mixing it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man,
You're
I
actually
got hammered.
your last options is your screwdriver.
What we could get at the airport when we were going to CPAC as college students, you can get like a handle of vodka and then these little things of orange juice.
Yeah. Get the handle of Taka. It's like $9.99 for 175.
17 was gin lemonade. I am not.
That's why I was just saying Tanqueray and lemonade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gin lemonade.
I am not a gin fan.
Delicious.
I'm not a gin
It's
fan.
so good though.
I'm not. Anybody? No.
I don't know. Yeah, if there's a day where like a cold gin and tonic does hit the spot.
Tequila soda is 16. What is tequila soda?
If you're on a diet,
Is that what that is?
yeah,
Okay.
it's like really low cal.
Uh,
So usually you don't get it because you're like excited to drink it.
all right. Mimosa comes in at 15.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's good on a Sunday morning. Daiquiri at 14.
Nice.
Tequila Sunrise. Bloody Mary. Never been a big Bloody Mary fan.
No.
What? Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Bloody Marys are like our thing. And it's funny because if you go to another state,
Is it really?
yeah, like you put like an entire
Wisconsin
meal.
for sure.
You're putting beef sticks, you're putting
Yep,
chicken
cheese.
wings,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
putting, all the stuff in there, man, loaded up.
You know, one thing that's crazy is I got a buddy, an old friend who lives in Louisiana, and they have drive-through daiquiri bars. Did you know this? That basically you can drive up order like a big flavored daiquiri
Right.
and take it with you.
That's dope.
And
How is that legal?
well,
that's what I was
It's
thinking.
Louisiana.
because it's Louisiana.
Yeah.
It's Louisiana.
Because it's Louisiana. My understanding is that they serve it to you in like a Coke cup, basically. And if the seal is broken where the straw is when you're driving, that is considered to be an open container at that point.
Sure.
But yes, they have drive-through daiquiri bars all over the place in like the New Orleans area.
So, AK, I was laughing because I've done those Bloody Marys with all the the shrimp and the bacon.
That's awesome.
But at that point, you're at a meal, and the goal of my drinking, it's like taking me too long to get to the goal. That's why I just go straight to the rum. Just straight. That's
But they come with a bonus drink sometimes.
yeah. It's more like a meal.
Yeah,
but
little beer shot.
Beer back or whatever they call it. That's cool.
Irish coffee comes in at number 11.
Ooh, it's been a long time since I had
All right, so your top 10. Dry martini cocktail at 10. Gin and tonic at number 9. They get kind of bland here. 8, vodka soda. I guess it's the same. Is it the same thing as
Low-cal.
low-cal? All right. 7 is vodka lemonade. 6 is spritz.
Oh, I
Like
love a
I've
spritz.
What is it?
You go spritz.
What is a spritz?
It's I don't know what goes into any drink. It's
isn't
like
it wine?
bubbly and
wine
a
with-
little sweeter. I'm thinking of like an Aperol spritz specifically. That's like a very
Yeah,
I like
Italian.
saying spritz. It's fun to
Is
say.
it wine
you're right,
with
yeah.
like carbonated?
It is carbonated. Yeah.
Italian wine-based cocktail served as a refreshing aperitif.
It's really good.
Like Prosecco or something, but with like a,
It's like bubbly and sweet, but not too sweet.
I only know that word because of Friends. That's so funny to me.
Aperitif.
Yeah, I only know that because of Monica and her cooking on Friends. Simple 3-2-1 ratio. 3 parts Prosecco, 2 parts bitter liqueur or aperitif, such as Aperol or Campari, and 1 part soda water, served over ice with an orange slice. All right, where are we at? Whiskey and Coke. That's not nearly as much fun. Rum and Coke at 4. And then again, Pina Colada at 3, Mojito 2, and Margarita at number 1.
I'm surprised Old Fashioned wasn't anywhere on that list either. Like Old Fashions are good.
Yeah, that's surprising. The top 3 are so tropical. If this is a worldwide survey, that has to be driven by like partying in on like cruise ships and stuff, right? And in I don't know, Sandals, Jamaica or something.
Yeah, I'm still surprised at Margarita being number 1 on the list though. That still is, but
Something skewing that.
yeah,
I think.
there's some demographic out there that's throwing that one off. All right, let's go here. We'll kind of keep with somewhat of a theme. A Northeast Ohio McDonald's restaurant was transformed into a wedding venue last Saturday as 2 co-workers said "I do" in front of friends, family, fellow employees, and the occasional customer. Now, as I
The
work,
occasional customer. Wait, they left it open while they were getting married.
You can't lose a day of
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, come on, man.
okay, now as I work through this,
Tight
I'm
mark.
going to give you guys a bit of a heads up as I work through this. Okay, so I want to know if you had to get married at a fast food restaurant, which one would you choose?
Culver's.
So hold on, you guys, hold on. Don't shout your answer out. Hang on to it.
Well, that was a good answer. So I'm.
It was a good
They're
answer.
so welcoming. That's like a
Think about it.
It's warm.
Okay, so you guys hang on. Let's go through some more details here, and then you can tell me. And you can do it all over again, and we can act like we didn't hear it. We had people trying to come into the lobby the whole time, despite the dining room being closed to the public for the ceremony and the reception, according to the bride, Jamie Calicote of Akron, Ohio. I was handing out extra sauces to an actual customer in my wedding dress. Some customers made it to the kiosks inside to order, and the drive-thru remained open throughout the celebration. I'm thinking if you're having your wedding at a McDonald's, I mean, you'd first off, you don't care, and then second, you'd want to leave it open. I mean, I would kind of want that activity happening.
want the atmosphere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you?
Couple of
Yeah.
angry black ladies like yelling that you got to order wrong.
I mean, if you're gonna shut the McDonald's down to have the wedding, then just go have it at some place that's more respectable.
Oh, but John, this is a celebration of where they met, how their relationship blossomed, and then you don't have to do a separate venue ceremony venue and reception venue. You just get married in front of the cash registers, and then you walk 5 steps and take your seat at your little McDonald's booth.
And
In-house
plus,
catering.
Yes.
they both work at McDonald's, so I don't think their budget's very, very high.
Also that.
And I'll tell you
I'm
what,
just saying.
I'll take the majority of the McDonald's food over most of the food that you get at a wedding. Like, I would rather have McDonald's food than most of the food that you go and get at a wedding.
I would cater McDonald's if I could do it all over again, me and Schmoopy, maybe we'll do like a vow renewal at 25. We're gonna cater McDonald's.
I went to a Kane's wedding recently. It was quite
Ooh, see,
Yeah.
that's good too.
Yeah.
But see, I'm also the person that would much rather have like a pizza on Thanksgiving than
For sure.
the Thanksgiving trimmings.
Yeah.
I just not. It just always seems formulaic, and it's kind of like, turkey's okay, the gravy's all right. It's like, okay, we're doing this, but I'd rather have. If I was gonna have something, then
We
That's 'cause
literally did
turkey's not
that.
good,
So
though.
my mom was in a nursing home basically 9 years before she passed away, and we would do the non-traditional Thanksgiving. So like we would do like a whole spread with pizza. My mom would be like, I want Arby's or something like that. Like we would do a spread every time we did Thanksgiving. It's funny.
So I've been getting, so I have like multiple ways that I can get messages here, right? So I have like emails coming in over here, and I have blasts coming in over here, and I keep seeing the same term over and over again, and now I realize why. Let's go to this blast at 6.
I'm watching the show on a screen, and it's got each of your guests in a square box, one in each corner, and you're on a box in the middle. I have a request. If the two ladies look down and the two men look up, then it will look just like the Brady Bunch.
I kept seeing Brady, but I'm like, why are people emailing me Brady
That's so
Bunch? And I'm
good.
looking at the screen right now, and that's exactly what it
What's
looks
the
like.
little? It's sorry. Have a lovely lady.
Yeah, that's you got it. I'm surprised you guys actually know that. Oh, makes me feel so much better. I'm not that old. Let's see.
Kind of fun.
Social. What's that? Yeah, it's
kind of fun.
Feel so close to
Hello.
AK and
Hello down there.
It totally.
Wait, Max.
Oh, right.
Wait. Am I? Wait.
This is
What's
gonna.
up, John?
This is gonna. Get,
Everything's reversed. I'm
Whoa.
sorry.
This is great audio content.
this is gonna get clipped so hard. Social media content surrounding the wedding has already generated more than 20 million
Okay,
impressions
I've
across
seen the
Instagram
video.
and Facebook.
Okay, yeah.
Now they can afford a real wedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or save up for a nice
That
honeymoon.
was the real wedding.
Or save up for a nice honeymoon.
That's true too.
Yeah.
That's true
Ouch.
too. We kind of figured it would get some attention, but this is just unreal, said the bride. The newlyweds were back at work on Tuesday after their wedding as customers and others who frequent the restaurant began congratulating them. Our Brinks guys who come in and pick up our money came in, and they both walked right up to us and said, "Oh my gosh, we've seen the video. It was wild. It's really fun."
This is kind of cute.
Jamie is a manager at the McDonald's where she wed George, the restaurant's crew trainer. The pair met through mutual friends at Cedar Park, Ohio. In June of 2025, went on a few dates when Jamie moved to Akron and began working at McDonald's in October. George was the individual who trained her.
Oh.
I do like that.
It's very
It's
sweet,
a
right?
wholesome story promoting marriage, working hard at McDonald's. You know, it's
I like
a great
it.
story. Yeah.
It's cute. I would probably do Chick-fil-A. I have to say, doesn't that make that much sense?
Yeah, Chick-fil-A makes
Yeah, so
I'll
let's
do
go-
I'll do the atmosphere of Culver's
Okay.
over at Chick-fil-A any day personally. They're both
Really?
great, but like Culver's.
So you're doing Chick-fil-A, you're doing Culver's.
Love
Max
Midwestern.
had to get married at a fast food
I
restaurant.
was thinking Chick-fil-A too, just because the likelihood of one of the staff members being an ordained pastor is probably pretty high.
Oh, that's a good call. I like
Mm.
that. Max, I'm sorry, not AK.
So I actually would do McDonald's. I legitimately think McDonald's is like go-to number one fast food. If you anytime you're like, what would you like out of all the fast foods? McDonald's.
Yeah,
Very
Isaac, you wanna? I know you don't have a mic over there, but you going Canes. So if I were getting married, we got married out in Arizona. So if we were doing it there, I would go In and Out. That's an easy one.
Sure.
But if we were here, I do Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, make a run for the wedding border. I love me some Taco Bell. I'm just saying. You got nice.
It is tasty.
It is good. I mean, all the items are basically just repackaged and resized. It's the same thing.
Yeah, different
They
ways
have-
of presenting the meat and cheese.
Yeah, I know, but I love it. But I love every
5
aspect of it.
ingredients.
I love
I like how they're
every
doing
aspect of it.
a wrapped or rolled quesadilla. I'm like, that's just a chicken burrito.
Wrapped in another
It's great.
burrito.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
McDonald's provided the venue, and despite ultimately holding a larger ceremony than the destination-style wedding they had originally envisioned, Jamie said the ceremony was cost-effective. Well, I would hope it was.
Yeah.
The couple handled some of the decorations and food themselves. The guests were served pulled barbecue chicken, buffalo chicken dip, homemade rigatoni, and fried chicken, while the kids ate fresh McDonald's food.
Wait, so they didn't even use the McDonald's
No.
food?
Just the kids.
That's awful.
Yeah, that's I don't agree with that at all.
That puts a damper on the whole story.
It
for me.
really does.
I was about to say, is that like a hidden menu item? The pulled chicken at McDonald's? Not that I would. That sounds pretty.
So
sketchy.
they wanted the venue of McDonald's. They brought in their own food. Well, if I could do that, I guess I would do McDonald's venue and then Raising Cane's in addition to McDonald's food. That would be a great spread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the chain that has the it's like a drive up and they have servers going around on
Sonic.
yes,
Oh,
Sonic.
Sonic.
If I could have people roller
Oh.
skating around at my wedding, like serving food, I think that'd be pretty sick. Maybe I'd do
Be
Sonic.
fun.
Let's go back to the. Oh no, I'm not going there. Let's. You know what? Let's
Oh,
let's
no.
not go to the blaster line. Let's go to this story. Since we were, and we'll share that after we get off the air. I saw a number of different words together. I didn't have time to read the whole thing, and I'm just going to play it safe, even though we are streaming here on the John Justice Show. Chick-fil-A sparked some excitement. Speaking of Chick-fil-A, so this will be good news to you, Catherine. You can renew your wedding vows at Chick-fil-A. They announced that they're adding a new all-day chicken and waffles breakfast sandwich.
Ooh,
Nice.
that sounds good.
Frosted coffee flavor and milkshakes to its menu this fall.
Bangers.
The breakfast sandwich has especially piqued America's interest as it will mark the first time that Chick-fil-A has attempted chicken and waffles.
That sounds
Really?
Sounds
Yes.
wonderful.
Kind of significant. It got the attention of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, which is the excuse I'm using to share the story with everybody. He chimed in saying that it's going to cost me 3 kids who both want chicken and waffles and s'mores milkshakes.
Yes.
Can I get through the drive-through under $50? He questioned.
Their milkshakes are so good.
That's
if you've
true.
never had one.
Mm-hmm.
They are rather
3,000
tasty.
calories.
And chicken and waffles is good. It's good too. All right, I have more fast food news. In recent years, fast food has been quietly shifting from a convenience category to a luxury category. You guys aware of this?
It did.
Yikes.
Countless American consumers are frustrated now with the overpriced, low-quality fare that fast food restaurants are offering in 2026, and many are swearing these chains off altogether.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Hitting the drive-through may still be relatively fast and easy, but long gone are the days when it was cheap too. When you have the E. coli or the sporus lettuce thing, that
Diarrhea.
yeah,
lettuce.
that whole thing
Yeah.
that didn't help either. But this, I just want to couple this with the conversation we were having earlier in the show, and that is the lack of younger individuals going out and being social and doing a lot of things. I mean, fast food venues certainly fall into that. It's kind of like the mall culture back in the past. I just think you have fewer, young individuals that are going out and eating at fast food restaurants. And now you have this race to the bottom because fewer people are going. The fast food places are raising their prices and they're having difficulty keeping their customers.
I've actually been to McDonald's twice lately because we did a long road trip. And so both times my husband and I got full meals for like $8. And we were like, this is incredible. I mean, this is insane. How did we just get all this food for $8? So I just don't buy that. If you're complaining about fast food, like move on to something else. It is still so cheap and affordable. There were definitely some crackheads inside one of those McDonald's. But other than that, it was a great experience.
Other than that,
What meal did you get where both of you only spent? Are you saying combined you spent $8?
I think so.
You must not have
That
ordered
is insane.
much.
so
It was so cheap. Okay, I don't know. I don't pay for the food.
Yeah,
okay,
but there's a lot of
honestly,
places that are running
I'm the
specials,
wife,
so
but
you're
like,
right, yeah.
I think it was like maybe $10.
Crazy.
McDonald's
I
has
get a
brought
plain
back,
cheeseburger with nothing on it, without like anything besides just the cheese. So.
They do these like $5 and $6 meal deal that McDonald's does, where you get either a double cheeseburger, or you can get like a single cheeseburger with lettuce and tomato, or you can get a McChicken and a small fry, a 4-piece nugget, and a small drink, and it's $5.
It's making me hungry.
That's so much food. Like
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
According to many customer testimonials, shelling out for fast food is simply too expensive based on the quality of the food received. One frustrated Redditor writes, because we should always take Redditor's
of course,
opinions
yes.
seriously.
Throw this story out.
I went to a Subway the other day and I spent $20 on my meal. I've also recently been to a Taco Bell and spent $16 and left hungry because the burrito barely had any filling. Back to bringing lunches, I guess. Beyond a decline in overall value, customers are also citing an appetite-spoiling decline in the quality of fast food items. In a post on Facebook, commenters agree that many of their once favorite chains, specifically McDonald's, Wendy's, Arby's. Oh, yeah, Arby's has not gotten a shout-out. Arby's needs a shout. I love you some Arby's.
Oh, they have an amazing steak cheese sandwich. It's probably one of the best things that I've had at Arby's ever.
Curly fries.
I worked at an Arby's.
Did you really?
Yep.
What'd you do?
Prep table.
Okay.
But I got fired because you're supposed to wear your chainmail glove when you're cutting or when you're cleaning the roast beef slicer. I was a closer. This was the Arby's in Roseville on Rice Street. And so I felt like I was a veteran at the time. I was going to compete in the Arby's Olympics, actually. I was training for that. I'm not kidding. That's a real thing. You won an iPad if you won.
What?
But anyway, so I was cleaning the roast beef slicer, and you're supposed to wear your chainmail glove. It's a company mandate. If you don't wear your chainmail glove, then if you cut your finger, you're automatically fired. Automatically. And so one night, it was getting late, and I was cleaning the roast beef slicer and slit my finger and slit it good. And started bleeding all over the prep table.
Great.
Believe it or not. No, I'm sure they cleaned it up and everything was sanitary or whatever. But like my manager at the time was looking at this cut and it was on my thumb. I can still see the scar. And was basically about to pass out. And so basically I just wrapped it up, excused myself, and never returned. Funny thing is because of that, yes, I got fired. They went to the emergency room where I eventually got stitched up. They send a pee tester out immediately. Like they have to come test you for drugs at the hospital.
I should have started with this topic.
What?
Holy cow, this is fascinating.
And the crazy part is, even though I got fired, they like provide you free health insurance for a year that I got. And I did not have health insurance while I was employed at Arby's. But I think they do that so you don't like sue the company.
Yeah, guarantee. Here's the thing I will say though.
So wear your chainmail glove, kids.
When it comes to these meals, I will agree that if you just like go and say, give me a number 10, yeah, typically those meals are like $10, $11. So you have to look at the value menu. So I think that's kind of a little bit the bait and switch that happens with a lot of these fast food restaurants. Yeah, if you get like a Big Mac meal, large size with the Coke, you're probably looking at like $12 or $13 for a Big Mac meal. But you can find all the value menu items at every single restaurant. So the Redditor that paid $20 at Subway, yeah, you probably got a foot long, you doubled the meat up, you probably got a large soda, and that's why it's $20. But you can get a $7 sub of the day for a foot long. So you know what? You just got to be smart about it when you go and shop.
This has been food advice from AK.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not a wealthy man, but I am a fat man. So I know how to like eat well for cheap.
A couple of things. First off, Max, did you ever feel like a knight when you were working? Did you ever feel like
with your glove?
Yeah.
It was like with the chainmail.
Yeah, with the chainmail glove. Seriously. And that roast beef slicer is so fine. That blade is so fine. When I cut my finger,
I'm gonna pass out.
I didn't even feel it.
It was my manager telling me, dude, what happened? And it's like, it was this thumb. And I got like 4 or 5 stitches on this thumb. It wasn't like bad, but it was deep. And so, yeah, I got fired. That's how I got fired from Arby's.
One of my first jobs was working at a Baskin Robbins, so 31 flavors. Okay. And there was a guy that got hired right at the same time that I got hired. I was very, very naive at a young age. And I'm going to apologize up front for telling my father. My father listens to the show, so he's going to hear the story. He's going to be very upset with me, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So the guy that I was working with, he was a bit of a rebellious dude at a very, very young age when I was working at Baskin Robbins. So first off, he taught me the art of whipped cream charger hits.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, whippets, baby.
Right.
Oh, whip it?
You were doing that before it was cool.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't that just like kill Hayden Panettiere? Oh no, that was separate.
Was it part of the?
That might have been a separate story about her doing whippets.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I don't know if it was involved in that.
But I think
aren't those like intense though?
Yeah, we tried to ban them in the legislature.
Yeah, I believe so. Because like you can buy them at like the specialty gift stores, like Spencer's or whatever.
So we had, and there was a large supply of whipped cream bottles at the Baskin Robbins back in the fridge.
Oh, boy.
So we were right the whole 9 yards, and so we got
explains a lot.
So the manager got really confused because they went to go use them and all the pressure was out of them, so they weren't working anymore. Right?
Oh my gosh!
So didn't get fired for that. And then, I did end up getting. I kind of got forced out. I wasn't like officially fired for a really dumb reason, especially based off of what I'm about to share with you right now as we close the show out. So at one point, I was working a shift. The rebellious guy that got hired at the same time as me was coming in to take over my shift. And there was a crossover, and he's like, "Hey, you should meet me." Oh no, it was going the other way. He was getting off of work, and I was coming into work. And so he's like, "Hey, you should come out and hang out with me in the parking lot," because he had some stuff to share of the marijuana variety. Which was a really stupid thing to do as you're about to start a shift at a Baskin Robbins 31 flavors.
Yeah, actually sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, well, just you're only allowed so many samples, right? So I made good use of those tiny spoons as I kept sneaking different flavors and taking them. No, the reason why I ended up kind of getting pushed out was because the manager got mad at me because I used to be very vocal when I would scoop people's ice cream.
Yeah! A lot of grunting.
And he actually had to come and tell me, he's like, "Can you stop making noise when you go to scoop?"
Oh my God.
You're getting really into that ice cream.
Yeah, it's just, you know.
Yeah, as a customer, I would be disturbed by that.
So as a
I don't
quick
want
story.
you making any noise. I want you suffering in silence.
And by the way, now you have a bit of an understanding of why I ended up going into radio and becoming a talk show host, because I've always been a very vocal individual, as my wife will attest.
Fast food has informed a lot of us young. So my first job was McDonald's, 14 years old, North Dakota. And by the time I'd been there for like 3 months, I really liked eating the food there. And so I wanted to work overtime or just more than the allotted, because I think you can only work like 24 hours or something like that in a week when you're 14. And so I worked it out with the manager, and they said, "All right, you have to clock out at 7, but you're going to close and we'll pay you in food." And I said, "Great." So in North Dakota, from 14, 15 to 16, I just
some
basically
straight up illegal child labor.
Labor. But I loved it. I got to eat so much McDonald's. We used to actually do wrestling tournaments in the ball pit back when McDonald's had ball pits. And I was the king of the ball pit, man. I was like body slamming full grown adults in there, man. It was awesome.
These are the weirdest stories I've ever heard in my life.
Let's wrap on this. I got one more story for you guys, and we'll close out the show on a Freedom Friday. This comes out of Camdenton, Missouri. A man that authorities believe was planning to distribute a large amount of marijuana during a gathering of the Juggalos Festival.
Yeah, Juggalos.
In Max Creek is now under arrest. So first off, are you guys familiar with the Juggalos?
No, what is a juggalo?
AK?
Someone who follows ICP. You have Juggalos, which are the men. Insane Clown Posse.
Insane Clown Posse.
They
What it-
Shopee. It's Shopee.
White.
It's Shaggy Two
white
Dope.
they're white rappers.
Yeah.
So this is a music group.
Yes.
White rappers
Insane
from the
Clown Posse.
90s. Insane
Fans of a
Clown
music
Posse
group.
from Michigan.
Got it.
And the women are
Okay.
called Juggahos.
Wow.
Men are Juggalos. Women are Juggahos.
Wow.
So this individual who went by the name of Kevin, doing that thing with my fingers, Blunt Man Jones.
Yeah.
The Blunt Man.
Blunt Man, yeah.
I know him.
45 years old. He's being held without bond on felony of drug trafficking and delivering of a controlled substance, according to the court records, used to charge Blunt Man. The Mid-Missouri Drug Task Force received information that he planned to distribute marijuana during the festival, which makes me laugh a little bit because I'm assuming the Juggalos are bringing their own.
Oh, yeah.
ganja.
Yeah.
But I guess he was going to take advantage of this, right? It begins on Wednesday, by the way. The task force found documents on the website juggalogathering.com. It's one of my frequent stops when I'm doing prep for the show every day. It described how Blunt Man's one-stop shop had been supplying the festival for more than 20 years.
Makes sense. That tracks.
When members of the task force stopped a pickup for traffic violations, they say they found approximately 128 pounds of marijuana in
Oh
a
my
camper
goodness.
that was being towed, along with signs reading "weed for sale, flower for sale." The state said they also located plastic containers with mushrooms. Not a huge surprise. He wasn't using them for his sandwiches. These were ones to get you high. The court documents also say the search located laminated paper with QR codes for various payment methods. So Blunt Man was, he had
That's an entrepreneur.
He was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Free Blunt
I
Man.
kind of
Shaggy-
feel bad for him.
Shaggy Two Dope and Violent J are the two main rappers. They also became wrestlers, so they did WWE or WCW or ECW, one of those. And they're from Michigan, so they beefed with Eminem because they were both in the rap scene. But ICP, they're like, they were pushing that there was a demonic prophecy of a clown demon, and they made 5 albums, and it was called The Great Malenko. Like, it's a whole thing, man. Like, people were saying it was a cult back in the day, and these two dudes were just like rappers that wanted to kind of like really play into that character, but they always dress in this makeup all the time. But yeah.
Did this guy had charges brought against him? So he has a lawyer who has to defend him now.
Yeah.
God bless his soul.
Oh, I imagine that's probably
Blunt man, yeah.
That's probably a very.
Bluntman's lawyer.
I imagine that lawyer is used to this type of stuff in that region of the of the country. I'm sure he's probably an expert in this. All right, listen, that wraps up a Freedom Friday.
Good way to end.
Another one for the record books, Brady Bunch. Thank you so much for coming in. RNC Committeeman, AK Kamara. Anything you want to mention before we cut you loose today?
Shout out to the Lions up in Hugo. We have a golf scramble tomorrow, so if there's any last minute entrance, you can definitely go and check it out. Hugo Lions. We have our golf scramble tomorrow. All proceeds go to the Hugo Fire Department to buy a new Jaws of Life.
Oh, wow. Okay. Max Reimer, representative. What's going on with you?
Thanks for having me. Nothing. Have a great weekend.
All right. Grace Keating, anything you wanna promote? What we got going on over here?
Yes, tickets for our fall briefing are officially on sale. You can get them at americanexperiment.org/events. It's at the beautiful winery at Sovereign Estate out in Waconia. We'll be hearing from Byron York, giving us kind of an elections update. So definitely don't want to miss that. And then Catherine, I'll let you plug our other upcoming event, your favorite day of the year, I believe you called it.
Yes, we'll be at the Minnesota State Fair. I believe it's August
29th.
Thank you. And we'll be there all day. And we have free stuff. We have a cool wheel you can spin and some fun facts about Minnesota and the direction that our state is going in.
Yeah, the show will officially, we'll be out there. I'll be out there on the 29th, 11 until 1 o'clock. And again, come on by and spin the wheel. The wheel of, what do we call it? Destiny?
Wheel of Misfortune is what I heard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The wheel of the Wrong Track Minnesota Wheel of Destiny or something like that. So we named it.
Oh, I don't know.
It's a long name.
It was a long name. We got to
workshop it a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll workshop it with the comms.
Come up with an acronym.
Remember to head on over to our brand new social media pages, John Justice Show, both on TikTok and Instagram. We hope you'll follow us there, where you can get caught up on all the clips from the show, the highlights that you might have missed. You can drop us blasts all weekend long at 612-584-4565. You can also drop me an email, john.justice@americanexperiment.org. And remember to head on over to the website, americanexperiment.org. Check out all of the amazing articles that have been posted this week from the policy fellows here. And of course, go to my page there, make a donation to the John Justice Show. You can get yourself an embroidered John Justice Show hat. Mugs are available, logoed on the merchandise site, and we also have some merchandise coming very soon. We worked out some items. We're getting closer on that. So thank you so much for spending time with us this morning. If you missed any portion of today's show, you can watch the show back on Facebook and on YouTube at Center of the American Experiment, also up on Rumble at Center of the American Experiment, and get caught up on the podcast on the MixLR app or on whatever podcast platform that you typically use. We'll talk to you guys on Monday morning. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. God bless, and I'll talk to you then. Bye.
She speaks through static waves at dawn. A voice that lingers when night is gone. Twin cities hum with stories spun. John Justice rides the rising sun.